Welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today with my three special guests, we'll be talking about our top 10 1990s movies. So without further ado, let's introduce our guests. Hello, everyone.
What up? What up?
How's it going?
My bad. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're muted.
You're muted too, Joe.
Yeah.
There we go. So why don't we all introduce ourselves for the folks who are new to the channel today?
Okay,
So why don't you start?
Yeah. I'm Joe. Know a lot about animation, know a lot about film, and I love talking about it, and I hope to talk about it further on my YouTube channel, which you can find at the Akward Actor. And happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, Hunter, you go next.
I'm Hunter, and that's about it. I've made a few appearances on Harrison's channel, but it was a couple years ago. I've been gone for a little while. So to introduce myself, that's about all I have. También hablo español, soy fluente, entonces si quieren hablar, solo dígame.
Yep. He's my younger brother, everyone. So if you could tell, we look alike.
That's right.
Yeah.
So be nice to him.
Yes,
Yeah, be nice. Treat me nicely.
Yes. All right, then Adrien.
I'm Adrien from Tarana Cinema. I absolutely hate movies, but I still have a page about them on my channel. Go check it out. Tarana Cinema on Instagram.
There you go.
There you go.
And I'm Harrison from Really Old Movies. I talk about movies from 1890 to 1965 on a weekly podcast. And then we do these live streams just for fun once a month. And this is the 1990s one. We continued on from the 20s to the 90s. So, yeah, this is exciting.
I'm sorry, just for fun?
Just for fun.
This is work.
This is work.
This is 100% work.
I'm doing this for fun.
Yeah. Hunter's there for fun. We're there
That's
for
right.
work.
I'm the voice of the people tonight, so.
That's right. Did you see that, by the way, Harrison, the mini content I started doing finally with all of the stuff that we've done?
Yes, on your TikTok. Yes.
Yeah, so I just started slowly. So that one, the searchers one on YouTube got 2,000 views.
Wow.
The searchers, the one that you saw.
Oh, that's amazing.
On TikTok, not so great. I'm still trying to figure out the algorithm and how it works. And obviously, like the 50s, it's still, unknown for most people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's uncharted territories for most of so it's like, it's not very relevant to them. But I really want to see what it does when we talk about Psycho and whatnot. But I plan on doing these little snippets per film that we talk about.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I was just laughing at Hunter's name. Sorry.
My bad.
Kind of just here.
But yeah, follow him on TikTok if you guys have that. He's been posting some great videos about that.
Follow Hunter as well. He's just there.
I'm just here. I could make a TikTok called I'm kind of just here.
Yeah.
I have one, but I won't plug it because no one needs to look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get into our list now. And since Hunter's our very special guest today, we're going to start off with him and his number 10.
Alrighty.
Wait,
I think.
Oh, you're putting it there. Okay. Cool.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. I should say I think I'm the only one here who's not even from the 90s. I was born in 2002.
I'm not from the 90s either. So
you're not? What?
No.
Okay.
So
let's go.
I always thought it was
form an
illegal.
alliance against the 90s kids.
I always thought it was illegal to be born after 2000.
I thought so too.
Yeah. So it's not, apparently.
It is. That's why I've been inside watching all these movies.
Yeah.
On house
breaking
arrest.
the law, watching 90s movies as you do.
As one does. All right. My number 10. I really like this movie. It could probably be higher on the list, but it just ended up in this order. I love Men in Black. I think this movie is sweet. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it is, but to be brief, like the world is in intergalactic danger. There's these cool sciencey FBI type dudes who like know about it and protect the world from that kind of knowledge of extraterrestrial activity. I don't know why they keep it a secret from the world, because honestly, it's their world is way cooler with the aliens in it, but that's beside the point. And yeah, I really like this movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, it is a good movie. I want to say I like this one more than the second one, but they're both pretty good in my eyes.
Mhm. Thinking about Will Smith too, like he's got some great movies and he has some movies that are like not really worth watching. And I feel like this is high on the list of just like solid good Will Smith movies.
Yes.
But I don't know. That's kind of being the voice of the people who's kind of just here. I'm not like a big cinephile or anything. I don't really know a lot about anything. So I like the flashing lights and the fun little characters. I like the talking dog.
Yes, the talking dog's amazing.
Those are what make this movie exciting to me. Actually, I will say also great like visual effects. Like like physical and animated is just like super good. Big bug guy. Yeah.
Is this the one that the guy who's monk is in? Is this one where his head's like smaller?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah.
He, like shoots his head off or something like that. I don't know.
Well, he's like a pet store owner or something like that, and he has a really small head.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's the
that's
second
this
one, but
No,
okay.
Well, maybe. I don't remember. That's my review. It's a good movie. You should watch it. It's on the list because it's really good.
There you go.
Well said.
Awesome.
All right. We'll move on to Adrien. This is your number 10.
Hell yeah. So Happy Together. Have you seen this, Joe?
I haven't, but I do have. This is from One Car Y, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I have one of
Oh,
his
okay.
films on my list, and this is actually one of the first that I tried to watch, but like I didn't quite like have a grasp of his style yet, so I kind of shut it off, and I've never finished it, but I really want to, and I'll explain more why when we get to my list.
Yeah, no, Happy Together is a very special film, and it's also one of those rare gems, and it's usually not even talked about in the context of One Car Y. Usually people talk about In the Mood for Love. They talk about Fallen Angels. They'll talk about Chungking Express. Usually those are like the top. Happy Together is usually not on that list. And it's a very it's a film that makes no sense on paper. Like the script would make no sense. I assume it's a film that was basically made as they went along. Wong Kar-wai was finding the story as he was shooting, so it was he didn't really go with a script, and usually he's known to do this. He kind of went with a treatment. And it was the first like gay love story without it being about the taboo of it, or being about how do you say, the fact that it was gay. They didn't make it a big deal. They didn't make it like a societal political thing. It was just that was the love story, and that's the love story that you're following. And it was, and that was done in the 90s too, which is insane when you consider the time. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, those two are just in love, and they are doing, and they are spending, and with breakups and the relationship issues that we have, and everything that goes on in a relationship, it's happening to them, and it's happening to them very normally. And that was never really done back in the day, and it's still not done today. Today, it's always very political. It's always very societal. It's always very, okay, we're going to put that in, and we're going to put that in, and we're going to find an excuse to put that in. And we're putting that in because of this and because of that. Here, there is no excuse. There is no because. There is no reason. It is because it is. Because it is just the way it is. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful love story I've ever seen, period. And so that being said, it was also the style of it was quite impressive. Like the cuts, the breaking it breaks every single rule. We go from black and white to color. We cut the 180-degree line. We go from the structure is it's a mess. And yes, yet it's a mess because also it represents the relationship itself. So everything makes sense. It's a piece of art like really never seen before. So yeah, you just have to see it to really believe it, because it's really a work of art, a true work of art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some hot takes here. The Road Critic, hottest take of the night. Best film in the 90s is A Phantom Menace.
Can't tell if this person's joking or not.
No, he's right.
Well, he is being a road critic. If you follow him on what is it?
Twitter,
Letterboxd.
he
He's got
follows
some
me-
crazy
follows me
reviews
on Twitter.
there. Oh,
Yeah.
does he? Yeah, he follows me too, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I haven't seen this film. I
I've
might
heard
check
a
it
lot
out.
about it. I really like, now that I've seen more of the films of Wong Kar-wai and I get his style, and like I have more like I really really want to see this film. Definitely.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's so inspiring too, because it really. I just love, and again, like the whole political thing. I just love that it has none of that. I just love that it's just a natural relationship. It's just what it is, and that's just so rarely done. If ever, I Brokeback Mountain was pretty good on that as well, but Happy Together is on a bigger level, on a much bigger level. Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to Joe's number 10.
Moving from one Wong
Speaking of Wong
Kar-wai
Kar-wai.
to another. So Chungking Express, this one I saw in a film class, and the only other film of his that I had seen was In the Mood for Love, and that was the first film of his that I had seen, and I wasn't sure of what to really think of his films at the time, like when I first saw In the Mood for Love, which, by the way, I think I definitely need to rewatch, because after seeing Chungking Express and Fallen Angels, I love this guy. Like, I love just his experimental style and just his visual storytelling, and the fact that he doesn't spoon feed anything to you. And
That's
yeah,
for sure.
and of his films, this one is my favorite, and I definitely need to watch it again, because I'm sure there are so many things that I still haven't like quite caught up on. And you'll notice with his films that they aren't always very like story driven per se, and that's probably because like mostly with his films he sort of winged it, in regards to sort of like what the story was. Yeah, and I feel like of the ones that I've seen, this is the one where I feel like the execution of it, like, just checks all the right boxes for me personally. And I really want to watch it again, very much so. I feel like you can't do his films justice if you just watch them once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting, Joe. I just has anyone seen it?
I haven't. I've just seen In the Mood for Love.
Gotcha. But so Joe, because I had a problem with Chungking. Well, not a problem, but I had reservations.
Gonna put up fists about no. It's
What?
fine.
The what?
No. Just putting up fists about like.
Yeah.
It's
No. There was two. Well, it's the one Wonker why I did not get, and I think it's not a. I don't know if it's getting it or if it's just not feeling it, because this is a true tone movie, right? Like most of his films, you're right, they're not very story driven. Happy Together is story driven. In the Mood for Love is story driven, but like these Chungking Express is not. Fallen Angels isn't really, because they're more about themes, right? Especially the theme of love. It's all about love. I mean, Wong Kar-wai has made the same film over and over again. It's all about love. And I think he's the best filmmaker that talks about love ever, right? That's ever been put to earth. But the problem with Chungking Express, there was two stories, right? There's the first story, right, with the gangsters, and then there's the second story with the California, right? Like California Love. And I love the first story, like with the whole the women with the glasses at the bar, and she meets the guy, and all the style, the shutter speed, all that's incredible. The second story, I just couldn't get into it, and I couldn't get into their story. The girl at the sushi, the shop thing, and then the guy. And I don't know, I thought it was a little too long, and I just couldn't get into it. And I was like, fuck, it's one of those films that I know is revered. Chungking Express is revered by the critic. Everyone loves that film. And it's one of the films I dislike the most of Wong Kar-wai because I just couldn't get into it. It's just interesting that you bring it up, and it probably deserves a second watch. But it is one of those films I was like, oh fuck, I'm not getting into it. But so it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that it's top 10.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about Wong Kar-wai, he's the only guy I could think of that can make getting takeout super intense. Like in
Yeah, in a way, in Chungking Express, there's a lot of takeout.
Oh, Pop Culture 33. Hey, Evan. I
Yeah,
was not a fan of Chungking Express, but I understand why some love it.
yeah, same. Yeah, same.
All right. So we'll move on to my number 10, The Truman Show. All right. Has everybody seen this film?
Yes.
I haven't.
You haven't? You got to check this out. This is very kind of surreal movie, especially now, with people feeling like they're surveilled and whatnot. Like, this is a really, really interesting movie. Kind of how, I guess, prophetic it was. Like, we're all on social media and all of that. Everyone's all focused on this one guy. Kind of makes you think of, like, I don't know, like influencers and whatnot. Very interesting. Well, anyways, I really like this movie. It's definitely way different than any other Jim Carrey film. We're so used to him as like the Grinch or the Mask or Dumb and Dumber. So it's really interesting seeing him in a more dramatic role. And I just loved every moment of it. I loved the ending sequence with him, waving goodbye. Like, that was fantastic. It's a great film. Highly recommend it.
Love Truman Show. So much passion and heart to it. It's more than just it's one of the best scripts ever written in the sense in terms of structure and the way we get to plot point from plot point to plot point. And the way it reveals information. I think it's one of the best film to analyze if you want to make films, because it's just a perfect way to like reveal information and reveal the twists and turns perfectly. But on top of that, it just has so much heart. So much heart. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Top film.
What'd you think of it, Hunter?
Well, just to add to his last comment about how much heart this movie has, I feel like emotionally, you just like, from my perspective, I just like want to be part of this movie because, like, I don't know, like you see how he feels and you see how his world changes around him, and like you're right there with him emotionally as like he goes on this weird roller coaster of figuring out what his life even is, and like I don't know, in that sense it really captivated me. I love this movie as well. So
No, for sure, that's fair. Like wanting to be a part of, yeah. You want to be a part. It feels like it's almost like a ride, a Universal Studio ride.
Yeah,
And you go along with the guy,
I guess in one sense you're no different than everybody else from the outside world who watches the Truman Show.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, you're right. There is that voyeur aspect of it. Actually, they use certain lenses to capture that even more. They used long lenses but wide shots, so that it added to the voyeur feel to it. You're right, Hunter. It's exactly that. I never even thought about it, but I remember because I remember now that you say it, I remember those long lenses, and I remember feeling awkward even before I even knew what was going on. And that's the feeling that they were attempting and succeeding, basically to get. So hell yeah.
Yeah. Pop Culture 33 says Truman Show is great. You can use it to look at our society, religion, relationships. It has many levels. I agree. All right. So we'll move on to Hunter's number 9.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I don't need to say anything about this film, but you'll also notice with my list, I'm like the casual friend who sits on your couch and has seen some movies, so I probably won't have something cool and artistic and incredible. But Jurassic Park is cool. There's some great art in it if you think about the art of creating those animatronics and creating those puppets. And yeah, I love Jurassic Park. I don't have any like special. It doesn't have any significance in my life that's like interesting. However, I did play once in my 6th grade band the theme song to Jurassic Park, and that stays with you. That stays with you in the heart. So every time I like watch this movie and like that really well known John Williams music comes on, it's just like you're elevated to another level. You're in Jurassic Park. So, anyways, that's my take.
I gotta say on what Hunter just said, because the number, like, okay, when I was doing my list, I was really struggling because Jurassic Park is obviously a perfect movie, but I didn't put it in there because the 90s is just, so big. But obviously it's a perfect film. It's almost like out of competition. So I was like, okay, obviously someone's gonna have it in their top 10, even if not all. So I was like, I'm just gonna take that opportunity to, to when someone, when someone has it pop up, to say that if you don't see it in my top 10, it's normal. I believe it is absolutely perfect and out of competition. So I wanted to give a chance to other films. So that's my excuse.
Yeah. It's not on my list either, but it just barely missed it. I kind of have a funny story about Jurassic Park. So last year at Comic-Con, my wife and I, we dressed up as, Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant. No. And people kept asking us questions about Jurassic Park. Well, neither of us are really fans of the franchise. So we're like, I don't know. So we're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that about characters we don't know a lot about.
You tell me you're not well versed on paleontological vocabulary?
Yeah.
No. No, and in fact, actually an actual archaeologist gave us a pamphlet to a museum. They're like, you guys need to go. It's like, I don't really care about dinosaurs. That was funny.
I guess what I can add is that I remember, I think this is like the first movie that like legitimately scared me as a kid.
Ooh,
yes, agreed.
Like besides, just like random scenes from like films made like for children to consume. Like this is kind of the first one where like I remember like, I mean, hot take, I don't know about it, but I kind of like in some ways I kind of consider Jurassic Park to be kind of a horror film, almost in the same way that Jaws is a horror film. Like, yeah, it's not like spooky or anything, but like it really is able to instill fear.
Yeah.
In a really
100%.
Yeah.
100%, and I feel like it doesn't belong to a genre, just like Jaws doesn't belong to a genre. It was supposed to be a monster movie, and then it became a horror film, and then it became an adventure movie, and then it became just a drama, and it was like, okay, it's just a good movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but like it's still very vivid in my memory, so I should probably watch it again. So, yeah.
Skip out on all the sequels.
Yeah.
None of them are worth it.
Same story, but told in a less interesting, less compelling way.
Worse.
That just makes the same conclusion of don't play God with dinosaurs. So
and never learn. I guess what we can learn is that we never learn our lesson.
Yeah. They never learn to stop making Jurassic Park sequels and remakes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. All right. We got Hugo P putting his list here.
By the way, Hugo P. Harrison is your fan from Europe. So,
awesome.
Make sure, he's what time is it right now? 3 a.m., something like that. So,
Wow. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Of course. That's
all right. So let's see.
As important as the premiere of Stranger Things.
Exactly. Yes. All right. So it's number 10 is Gattaca.
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Toy Story. Heat. Ooh, I need to see that one.
Oh, fuck. I forgot Heat.
Oh. La Vita e Bella. I think that's
that's Life is Beautiful.
Oh, Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful. Okay. The Prince of Egypt. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Lion King. Nice. Goodfellas. Nice. Schindler's List. Eyes Wide Shut. That's a good list there.
I agree with like most of it, 90%. Heat. I mean, it barely missed it. It could have made it. I
need to see it, man.
Yeah.
Pop Culture 33. Love all the sequels. Just enjoy the ride with Dino. Yep.
Hey, there you go. If anything, you can at least enjoy monsters eating people.
Yes, that
That's
is
true.
true. All right. So let's go to Adrian's number 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously it's a good movie, but but more importantly, it's the first movie I've ever seen in a theater. Right?
Oh.
So when did that come out? 1990. So 1995 is Toy Story 1, right? So 1999,
I want to say 99.
yeah.
99,
99 because Bug's Life is
98.
in 90,
Right,
is in between.
right.
So yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it. I was 6 years old. I remember seeing the trailer on TV. The toys are back. What toys? Right? Back from where?
Yeah, where'd they go?
And I remember I had never seen Toy Story 1. I didn't even know it was a thing, but I just remember the characters being so, like Woody and Buzz being they were so relatable from that trailer. They were so impressive for some reason. I don't know. They made such an impression in that 10-second trailer that I remember harassing my father because they said in a theater near you. They're coming back in a theater near you. And I didn't know what a theater was. So I was like, like we have to go to the theater. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, we have to go to. I don't know what that is, but we have to
We
go
gotta go.
That's where the toys will be. And so like, yeah, it's called Toy Story. So obviously my father knew about it. It's like, okay. So we go in. So we go I don't know if it was the day of the release or like the week, probably the weekend of, because there was a big ass line. And it was my first time at the theater. I had never seen anything like it. Like it was a giant living room. In my head, it was like I'm describing a theater right now, but like at the time when you're a kid and you're in the dark and you see this giant screen, the giant TV, it was insane. And the line was like 2 hours. We had to wait in the London cold for 2 hours before getting inside. And then the movie happens and it's the most magical thing in the world. And there's a specific sequence in there that I don't think anyone has gotten over it when Jessie gets left, gets abandoned by her owner. You guys remember that flashback? With the
Sarah McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When the da 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 da. I don't remember the exact lyrics, but it was like, oh, when somebody loves
When
me.
she loved me.
Yeah. When somebody loved. When that sequence happened, it was not only did I cry till the end of the film and never got over it until today. I still haven't gotten over it. But I remember my dad and I remember the adults around me tearing up at a kid's film about toys being abandoned. And there was just a click that was like, this is something more than just entertainment. This is more than just fun. This is something special. And it was my first outing in the theater. And so, it's got to be in my list. Of course. And yeah, it's a great film.
All right. Got some comments here from Pop Culture 33. Toy Story 2 is supposed to go straight to video.
Oh, yeah.
I heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Pixar's
I'll go into that. Pixar's pissed and said no, made the whole movie in record time. They finished Bugs Life and went straight to. Speaks to volumes to how good that movie is. Yeah. So I'll go into that a little bit. That's what also I wanted to add. Just the backstory of this. It was absolutely supposed to go straight to VHS, or straight to DVD, I believe. Wait, was it DVD already?
Yeah, it was because of the success of Return to Jafar that Disney originally wanted Pixar to make the movie to be
correct. Yep, that would go straight to DVD. And Lasseter had taken a break. John Lasseter, the founder of Pixar and creative director of Pixar, had taken a break after Bugs Life. Right, he had gone back to back. Toy Story and Bugs Life, both directed by him, and the team was taking care of Toy Story 2. and it was so bad. It was so bad. Like everything was going wrong. The storyboards, the design, the new characters, the storyline, everything was off. They were trying to remake the first one, and they were trying to remake the first one, but a bit differently. And it was just everything was going south. They had to call Lasseter from his vacation, from his family vacation, in urgence, saying we're all about to get fired. you have to come back now and help us out and lead the way. So he left the family to go to the Pixar, and they scrapped everything. They had worked for 7 months on drawings and on scripts, and they scrapped everything. And Lasseter basically picked the team back up and went back to the drawing board and redesigned and recreated an entirely new storyline, and was like, we're not going to redo the same thing we've done. We are going to go the Empire Strikes Back way, the Godfather 2 way, which was, we're going to take from the first one and we're going to create an entirely new storyline that's going to be completely original, and we're going to take risks, and so on and so forth. And for the next 3 months, they asked Disney for a pushback, which they've gone. They got greenlit for more time, and not only did they approve, not only was the final product, amazing, but they were like, okay, it's too good for it to be on VHS. It will go to theaters, and it went to theaters, and now we now know it for the masterpiece that it is. But it wasn't always the case. So,
that's great. All right, we'll move on to Joe's number 9. Oh, would you look at that?
And there's no way too that there's no way to expect it to. Like, Joe hides it so well of what comes after, that even though there's some irony going on, even when I'm telling you, he hides it so well that it's impossible.
Yes.
What Adrien said.
Ditto.
Okay, just move on. No. Toy Story 2, it's probably my favorite of the Toy Story franchise. It's probably the greatest animated sequel ever, maybe. At least that I can think of right now. I'd argue it is.
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah. And
maybe Toy Story 3.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, what else is there? Whatever. Different conversation for another day. And it's crazy to think that the thing is, when John Lasseter did come back and saw that everything was going to shit, they were trying to ask Disney, hey, is there any chance that we can change the story? And they're like, nah, it's fine the way it is. Besides, you only have 9 months to finish the movie. So they're like, okay, let's just throw everything away and make a new story. But again, they only had 9 months to finish the movie. And the fact that they finished it all before their deadline somehow, and the fact that it's revered as one of the greatest, I'd say, animated films and just sequels in general, is amazing. So, yeah.
Did they not delay?
No, they to my understanding at least, by the time that John Lasseter got back and they scrapped the original story, they had 9 months or something to finish the movie.
Jeez.
Gotcha. So because I know they were working tirelessly day and night.
Yeah,
but I forgot about, because I thought they had asked for a little bit of a pushback. Because that's usually, when Star Wars, they had to redo their thing, but they pushed the day back. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Did you see what Pop Culture just said?
Bro, it's so true.
Couldn't
Also
say
directed by Lasseter.
Okay, so Here it is. I just Googled it up. Lasseter and the story team redeveloped the entire plot in one weekend. Although most Pixar features take years to develop, the established release date would not be moved, and the production schedule for Toy Story 2
Wow.
was compressed to 9 months.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah. And it's
Also,
amazing.
theater release, which is insane. To go to not, yeah.
And it looks better than the first. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, like I would say, like, even though like the animation is still like maybe dated, it's still I still wouldn't complain with the way that it looks.
Oh
Like,
no,
Mhm.
oh no.
Mhm.
I wouldn't complain with any Pixar film the way that it looks. Even the first one. Sure, there's not as much details as the subsequent films, but that makes sense. It's toys. It makes sense that there's not as much details as like humans or
Right.
monsters. So it works. It's so inspiring. Was doing this power play that was downfall. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah. Michael Eisner, man.
Yeah, he basically 2 years after that. No, not 2 years. 4 years or 5 years after that, it was over. Wow, so inspiring. It's crazy,
All right.
crazy shit.
We'll move on to my number 9,
Oh,
Tombstone.
Of
Have
course,
you guys seen this movie?
yeah.
I haven't.
Oh, you got to check it
But
out.
I, you know what? I think I've seen the famous scenes. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Mm.
I've seen the iconic scenes. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, long story short, this is based on an actual gunfight that happened at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona. And little tidbit, when I served my mission for my church, I actually got to go to the real Tombstone and see the actual OK Corral. It's nothing spectacular. It's a little plot of land. But
Wait. Have you seen High Noon? No, not High Noon. Sorry. Gunfight at OK Corral
No, but that's on my list because it's basically this movie.
and
Yeah.
My Darling Clementine, which is also basically the same movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this one is it's the most historically accurate version of the Wyatt Earp and brothers story. I don't remember the brothers' names. But anyways, this movie's amazing. Super iconic moments. Like, I love Doc Holliday. He's played by Val Kilmer.
Yep.
You got Bill Paxton. You got Sam Elliott. Like, it's an amazing cast. Kurt Russell, fantastic as Wyatt Earp. Yeah, basically, it's their story, how they came to a town, dealt with some gangs there, and how they got into the crazy gunfight that the Earps are known for at the end of the film. And then the subsequent, what happened afterward, getting
why is the
revenge.
gunfight at the end of the film?
Right?
Well,
Well-
it's the whole build-up, right? It's about the relationship between Wyatt and Doc Holliday.
Yep, exactly. And I can't decide if it's spoiling it or not because it actually happened, but I won't spoil the movie. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, My Darling Clement, like Victor Mature as Doc Holliday. That's maybe why I've been reticent to see this, because it was like I loved Henry Fonda and Victor Mature as Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, respectively, in Darling Clementine. That I was like, how can you beat that duo, that chemistry that they had?
Well, all I could say is I'm your Huckleberry. All right, we got Pop Culture 33. Remember the Kevin Costner? That's right, the Wyatt Earp movie. He released it like the same time. Oh, that's
Oh, yeah.
right. I forgot about that. Well, I haven't seen that one because I really like this one, and I don't want to change my opinion on it.
Yeah, same thing. See, same thing. Same. It's like once you've seen one of these movies, there's like 15. It's insane.
Yeah. You've seen this, right, Hunter?
No, kind of like Adrien. So like just the
He
It's
saw My
the
Darling
highlights.
Clementine.
The highlights.
Hunter saw My Darling Clementine. Or
Right.
no Victor
Yeah.
Mature, no James, no Henry Fonda. Fuck that. is what he said.
That's exactly right.
And I
Do you even know who Henry Fonda is, Hunter?
quote.
I just pulled up Google on a little tab so I can.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, nice. American film actor. Very nice.
He's an American film actor.
That's right. I need to mute for a second.
That's what they told him, at least.
All right. So we'll move on to Hunter's number 8.
I'm always excited for. Oh, fuck yeah.
Bro, guys, come on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this film. I don't know. So I feel like it was something that Harrison and I watched together growing up. Like
All the time.
an absurdly large amount of times.
Yes.
Like if it was a VHS, it would have worn out, but it was on DVD, so it didn't have
It
that.
never wore out.
I still have it actually. It's
It
still,
wore out.
but thinking about like heart in a film, I don't know what that means, but when I'm imagining what that would mean, I feel like Iron Giant would be a film that has heart, because I love this like young kid, like that whole 80s feel of like young kid going on an adventure, family doesn't know about it, crazy things happen, whatever. Okay. But like I so love just watching this movie and being that kid while I watch it, because like I don't know, it's just like he grabs his gun, he tapes his flashlight to it, his little BB gun, and he goes out on this like wild adventure in the night. And I'm just like, I don't know. After watching this movie, I grabbed a flashlight and taped it to my Nerf gun. Like it just, in that sense, it just like sticks with me. I don't know. I just love. I don't know. I love it. Anyways,
it doesn't have heart. It's the heart.
The heart. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
But it is. It literally is. There's no other better There's no other better definition for it.
That's awesome. This is super not important, but something I always think about when I watch this movie. I will admit I get a little distracted when I watch movies, but like when he goes to eat ice cream with like, has everyone seen this? I assume. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes to eat ice cream with like the bad guy, and like puts the little like laxative in his in his ice cream. Okay. Every time I watch that, the only thing I think about, and this like would amaze me, not important, but he like puts the ice cream in his mouth, and then when he's talking, his mouth is white because there's ice cream in it. And I always get so distracted, and then I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then anyways, thought I'd add that comment. This movie's sweet.
Brad Bird doesn't get much love he deserves. I agree with that, Pop Culture 33.
The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, Hunter. Everything you said was on point and spot on. And the comment about the teeth, that's incredible detail in the film that, again, Brad Bird is known for. He's known for this attention to detail that you see in almost every film he does. Even the film he fails, there's always that attention to detail that is quite sublime. So,
well said.
Amen.
I'm like similarly to you, Hunter. I grew up with this film, and nobody else who I knew grew up on it. So I always, for the longest time, I thought that it was a movie that that was just in my imagination. But then when I got older and realized, oh my gosh, everybody loves this movie, I felt so validated. So, yeah.
Yes.
Great movie. And you might be seeing it later.
Oh, snap.
Secrets now.
You're usually so good at this. I'm not telling us that.
My bad.
All right, Adrien, you're number 8.
I had to put it. Okay, I had to put it. I know it's been the thing is, like, I think the problem with Goodfellas is that I'm gonna fud on it for a bit. By fudding, I'm gonna shit on it for a little. Not because of the quality of the film, that obviously it's flawless, but because of people overhyping it so much that it becomes a film you don't want to put on your list, because you know it's going to end up on everyone's list, and also for all the wrong reasons usually. So I was debating between putting that or Jurassic Park, and it was between the two, and I was like, fuck, like, but Jurassic Park, it's going to be on everyone's list. Probably so is Goodfellas. But at the same time, it was like, okay, so I feel like Goodfellas is a better film. Well, no. Jurassic Park is a perfect film, right? Out of competition. Goodfellas is a better film, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. So yeah, I think it's been this film has been saturated in the forums, right? In the pop culture conversation of like it's been everything that's been said has been oversaid. So, but it is one of those films that when I first started to fall in love with film, that kind of not just blew me away, but made me understand how important structure was, how important editing was, how important the script was, right? All of that, like especially the editing, the editing section, at the end of the third act of the helicopter was something I had never seen before or after, for that matter. In terms of timing, in terms of pacing, in terms of thematic importance to the story and the character. And it just really showed me how a film like that could dance together with all of the departments flowing at one pace and just delivering on the story. So that was quite a feat. And I remember Magnolia having the same impact on me. The impact of the production design, the editing, the costume design, everything just works so well together that it makes it probably one of the greatest films ever made.
Ooh, Pop Culture 33 coming in hot. Not a fan of Goodfellas. I enjoy Casino better.
Cool.
I know
No,
you
I
can
like
kick me
that.
out now.
No, I like that. I like people that don't like Goodfellas. I like him a lot. Say that I really do. It's just too much. There's too much love for it out there. Time to dial it down.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Goodfellas.
Like 2 for 2. Here we go. No.
2 for 2.
But okay, so this one is I'm really excited about talking about this one. So, have any of you seen or heard of this one?
No to both.
Okay. All right. This is going to be exciting.
Hunter has seen it like 3 times.
Yes.
But that's about it.
So this was one of Ghibli's earlier films that they released in the 90s. This was the film directed by Isao Takahata after he did Grave of the Fireflies, and it was a much yeah, I see you. This is definitely not as depressing as Grave of the Fireflies, but it definitely has you can see with Isao Takahata that he really has this skill when it comes to portraying the human condition and just the raw emotions and even the small little things that mean so much to us, especially as children, and sort of the effect that they have on us. And Only Yesterday is it's probably one of Ghibli's most underrated films. It's about this woman, Taiko, who goes out to the countryside to just sort of find herself. And she finds that going to this place floods her memories with these memories of when she was in 5th grade. And it's just so well done. It's an incredibly well executed coming of age story. And I deeply look forward to watching this one again because it needs to be seen by more people. And I think the reason for that is because when Disney acquired the rights to distribute Ghibli's films and to make the dubs of them and to distribute them in America, this was actually recorded as one of the few films that they refused to do a dub for. This and Grave of the Fireflies. But Grave of the Fireflies was because there was a deal with that with like a different studio. So like Disney like could not in any way get the rights to do like the dub for that. Although I wonder if they would have done the dub for Grave of the Fireflies, considering how depressing it is. But with Only Yesterday, like they could have made an English dub and distributed it in America in like the 2000s when Disney was distributing them, but they specifically chose not to. And the reason for that is, and this is cited, the reason for that is because there were overt references to menstruation, which is, come on, fucked up. But, and that kind of ticks me off, but it's still. So because of that, the film it just flat out wasn't available to North American viewers for the longest time because it just wasn't distributed in America. The only time that it was available to America or Canada was when there was like a special, I think, televisation that was hosted by John Lasseter but like they were also screening other Ghibli films, but that was the only time. And so it really didn't get a special, like its distribution in America until 2016 when G-Kids picked up the rights for the Ghibli films, and they still hold the rights to them now. And they were finally able to give North American audiences Only Yesterday legally.
Dang. There's so many movies out there that because of distribution and all that, we can't see over here. Mm-hmm. So that's really sad to hear.
Yeah. This is such an amazing movie that we didn't have for the longest time.
The Letterboxd rating is excellent. It's rare that I've seen it's excellently reviewed on Letterboxd.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of tone does Only Yesterday take? Because I looked it up. I looked up our man's Isao Takahata on what is this called? Wikipedia. And I've seen My Neighbors the Yamadas, but that's like maybe not this very similar. And I've also seen Grave of the Fireflies, but
yeah, like this is definitely a more sort of mellow one. And it's like, honestly, I kind of like, it's a very almost comforting viewing because it definitely, like when I saw it, it was like, it was a bit of a comfort to me. And I think this is definitely one that I think is great for people who are going through like a transition in their lives, in their adulthood, because it really does talk about like sort of reflecting on your past self and looking at where you're at now and not entirely being satisfied with that and wanting to go further, but not knowing what you need to do to make that next step. And so it's really comforting in that sense.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. On the list.
Yeah. Great movie.
All right. We'll move on to my number 8. It's a little movie you've probably never heard of before. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas. I love stop motion animation. I'll just put that out there. I think it's incredible the amount of work and effort they're able to put into it. And I also love the music in this. I love at Disneyland when they change it from Haunted Mansion to this, Nightmare Before Christmas. I personally think they should keep it that way. But that's just me. But, it's a fantastic movie. Fantastic story. Let's see. What else can I add? Recently, I saw a viewing of it at work. We were doing an outdoor screening for the kids, and it was really cool seeing, how excited the kids got watching the movie. So even though the movie's almost 30 years old, it still connects with people. And I think that's really powerful that it's able to do that. Such a weird, but yet really interesting, really cool story. That's pretty much it.
Amen.
Amen.
Igualmente.
Yes.
As they say, it's a good movie. That's what they said.
Yes. It's interesting. I believe Tim Burton wrote a story of it first, and then it was made into a movie, but he didn't direct it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they call it Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Hunter, do you remember when we went to that museum
Yeah.
that had all the Tim Burton stuff? That was really cool, seeing all the little models and how detailed each of them was. Like that
Mhm.
just blew my mind, man. It was so cool.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
You're good. Nightmare first release under Touchstone. Oh, okay.
You know, Disney thinking with their marbles, trying to get that
Well,
dough.
yeah. The thing is, they had Touchstone distribute it because Michael Eisner thought that it was going to be like too traumatizing. In fact, it was actually going to be listed as one of like Walt Disney Animation Studios films alongside movies like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. But Michael Eisner thought it was going to be too scary for their brand. So they had Touchstone distribute it. But they kind of regretted that after realizing that everybody really likes this movie. So,
Yeah.
so now they totally own it. Like they totally own the fact that hey, this is one of our movies. So
Very cool.
All right. You're number 7, Hunter.
All right.
Who's the genius who just put that?
That'd be Hunter.
Hunter's
my
the
number
genius.
Yes.
This movie.
Hunter
So
is a
good.
genius.
It's so
Hang on.
good.
Who thinks of that for their top 10? See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's genius curation.
Thank you. I might have done it this morning, but in bed,
Genius.
Like 5 hours ago.
in my undies, just chilling, making this list.
Best
TMI,
movie of all
TMI.
time, if you did it. Bar none, best movie of all time. Go ahead, Hunter.
Yes, this movie is incredible, and I don't know. I'm not like the smartest movie person, but like one of my favorite scenes in this movie is you have all these agents that are in disguises as homeless people, and then they like rip off their disguises and break into this house, and they're like looking for stuff. And I'm pretty sure nothing happens. I don't really remember. However, the like energy and excitement. If you notice, there's kind of a theme with the things that I like about movies. It's energy and excitement. Anyways, they like energy and excitement of that moment. Wow. And then like the tunnel scene where Harrison
Yes.
Ford is like running through the tunnel and jumps out of a giant pipe. And what is the guy's name? The guy from Men in Black.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Like, oh my gosh. Like walks up to the end of this big pipe and like says some funny thing. And I'm like, holy crap, there's just something different about The Fugitive. Also, in my opinion, I haven't seen a ton of Tommy Lee Jones movies, but in all of them that I've seen, I absolutely adore him in this movie. Like I don't know. I don't even know if he's that important in the movie.
No,
Well,
he is. He's a
I
key
love him
role
so
of
much.
it.
He like makes me laugh. Super interesting guy in this movie. Anyways, there's great action and misdirection, and I just
Yes.
like, oh man, I'm like on his team. Even though I know Harrison Ford is like totally innocent, when I watch this movie, I just like Tommy Lee Jones so much in this movie where I'm like, I kind of want him to win and catch him. I'm like, I don't know. It's just, anyways.
I love how he's like, I don't care.
Yes, I don't care. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
Yes. Have you seen this movie, Joe?
I haven't.
Oh, you got to check it out. It is so
Okay,
good.
I just put it on my watch list. Hunter, do you have a letterboxd?
no, do I need one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Well, I'm making a list. I'm literally
You-
writing down titles
do
in
you
my
even
iPhone
know what
notes.
Letterboxd
So.
is?
Yo,
Yeah.
Hunter's a genius. Like, you guys don't realize. Like, he doesn't realize yet.
my powers are too strong.
Yeah.
I'm getting
The
Letterboxd.
world
I'll
needs
do
to
that later.
know. Ergo, get a letterbox.
Okay.
Yes. And make sure to follow me, okay? Follow your brother.
And me.
And
And
Joe and
Adrien.
Adrien. I'll follow
And
it.
Joe and Adrian.
Tarana Cinema is mine.
Okay.
The Awkward Actor.
The Awkward Actor.
Thing as it's spelled.
Should I make mine kind of just here?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
No, you should do that brand you're doing for school.
Oh, Joico
Yeah.
tries to download Letterboxd, accidentally downloads TikTok. Anyway, moving on.
My goodness. Yes. All right. Adrian's number 7.
Oh, that's
Quite a tonal shift.
From no, I mean,
Well, maybe not.
A little bit. Wow, I love that fucking poster. I saw that. I was like, oh, like a book, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's amazing. And you and knowing that Harrison is a big fan of posters, you know. So I mean, Hunter, what do you have to say about this?
I've never seen it before.
Okay, well, you know.
I
what
actually
was your-
haven't either.
I actually have seen it. I know
Neither of
everything
them.
about this movie. Also about Terrence Malick.
No one has seen it?
No, I don't think so.
One of the greatest war films of all time. Remember when we were talking about Malick? I mean, I've been talking about Malick for a bunch of decades now, and I feel like he comes up every decade, you know.
Yes.
And we talked about, you know, he is the one filmmaker that transports you into his films, gets you into his atmosphere, this is truly like cinema as art is represented by Malick in the 21st century. Even though that was in the 20th century, but you know, like he is a modern poet, film poet, right? The same way Tarkovsky was before him. And The Thin Red Line is, in my opinion, his greatest movie. And it's a film about all aspects of war. It's World War II in Japan, right? So it's actually a very it's a location we never talk about. We never see in films. So it's a
Very
whole
rarely.
very rarely. So this is a first of all a very original take on war, but also and especially on the way it deals with war, and in the way it deals and it talks about it not just from the perspective of the horrors of the generals, but the soldiers and the men and women and just everything that everything top down of what war is, what war represents, and he manages to make a poem out of it, to make a poem out of the horror of war and where do the humans, you know, how humans meet their fate at different levels. Something again I've never seen before. It's just like any Malick film, you know, you'll see Days of Heaven and you'll see The New World, which is done very similarly to this. And it's again, it's a ride, it's a journey, it's a poetic journey that you go on, and you will never see a war film that way. That a war film that's not about the war. It's unbelievable. It's hard to explain it with words. It's truly something to be seen. I forget what actor was in, but he was supposed to be the sub. Yeah, yes, correct. It's Adrien Brody. So there's a lot of stories. So okay, so the little backstory of The Thin Red Line is that after Days of Heaven, Terrence Malick took 3 years to make that movie, and like 3 years shooting and editing, which is a crazy amount of time.
It's a long
And
time.
he was so burned out by the whole thing. And even though Days of Heaven was a huge success with the audience and the critic, he still wanted to retire from film. He didn't want to be a part of it. So he left to the south of France, actually to the south of France with his wife for the next 20 years. He quit filmmaking for the next 20 years. I believe it was from 74 to 94. And when he finally wanted to come back and make his next film, which was The Thin Red Line, everyone wanted to be a part of it. John Travolta's in it. Fucking, you know, John Cusack is in it, but they're all in it for 10 minutes each. Some, I think it was Bruce Willis who was willing to pay to be in that film.
Wow.
They were flocking to be cast in this. And there's a bunch of stars in it. Like pretty much everyone's in it, but they're there for like 10, like the biggest stars that you would see as main characters, they'd be in this for like 10 minutes because it's not about the one character, right? It's about every character. It's about all of human nature, right? So he wanted to show all of the perspectives of human nature. And Adrien Brody was the main character, had all the lines, and all of his lines got cut out. He basically was an extra in the film, and he didn't learn that until the premiere.
That's insane.
Like he was at the premiere watching his movie that he spent months doing, and it turns out he has no line. I think he has one line. I think he says thank you.
No.
At some point. It's insanity. The whole behind the scenes of the Thin Red Line, again, practically no script changing every single time.
Oh,
But truly, I think one of his most entertaining films. I know a lot of people were bored, because a lot of people are bored by Malick films because they're very slow moving and they really take their time and they reel you in, and it's a meditation, right? It's a true meditation. His films are meditations. So it's you can't be on your phone, right? Like Hunter would probably be on his phone. As he said, that, distracted easily.
Wow,
calling him out.
Yeah, he said earlier. That
Sorry, what'd you say? I was on my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
But I now know who Adrien Brody is.
As Hunter gets distracted by films, this is one of those films you cannot be, because if you do, there's no point in watching the film. The film will just go past you, and you won't get any of it, because it's all about attention to detail, and it's all about being transported into this world. It's movies like that I don't know if they can be recreated today. I don't think they'd make money today. Like it's really, really tough to grab that kind of attention. And yet he does it so well that it's a marvel, a gem of a film, and again, just a pure work of art. And probably, I don't know if I'm going to say the greatest war film for me. Like, is it my favorite war film? It's top 2. So, oh yeah. So Pop Culture said The Hidden Life, which is the new Malick, which I haven't seen yet, but I hear it's phenomenal. I hear it's just as good as his old stuff.
Samuel Stevens stopped by with his list. All right, so I'll read it from 10 to 1. GoldenEye, nice. Copland, I haven't seen that one. I think that's with Stallone and De Niro, maybe, I want to say.
Which one?
Copland.
I don't know.
Okay. 8, Secret of Roan Inish. Haven't heard of that one. 7, Schindler's List. Nice. 6, Jurassic Park. Nice. 5, Falling Down. 4, Howard's End. 3, Kindergarten Cop. Heck yeah. That movie's awesome. 2, Kurosawa's Dreams. Number 1, Hunt for Red October. Hey, that's a great list, Samuel.
Yeah, very original list too.
And then he says The Hidden Life is incredible.
Yeah, I hear that The Hidden Life could be my favorite Malick ever. Like it's apparently back to the roots with all of the poetry, the craft that he's learned in his like free-flowing poetry of the last like 10 years. So yeah.
Well, I've added this one to my list because I really like World War II movies. So,
like Adrien, when you talked about Terrence Malick in the last live stream about the 70s, I've put almost like all of his well-known films on my watch list.
Oh, amazing!
I gotta look into him.
Amazing. No, yeah, I that's amazing because he's not. I feel like Robert Eggers could be his successor, right? Like The Lighthouse, The Witch. More, but it's more in the horror genre. I think he could be his successor in the sense of like him. You could say that The Lighthouse is a piece of poetry, right? So Bergman obviously was the poet before that, and Tarkovsky before that. So yeah, important stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But as I said before, I don't like movies. And that's how I introduced myself.
That's right.
Just so that we don't forget.
Okay,
Number 7 for Joe.
Hunchback of Notre Dame. This, I freaking love this movie. I think it's probably most underappreciated film from the Disney Renaissance.
Yes.
And I just love that this is like such a dark turn for Disney. I always love it when Disney tries to tackle more serious subject matter or tries to really terrify children.
Yes.
But, yeah, this one is just like, whenever I watch it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why isn't this movie loved by more people? Like, it's yeah, I love the characters. I mean, I would argue that this, if you surgically remove a guy like you from this soundtrack, I would say that this is the best Disney soundtrack. But only if we removed the Gargoyle song. But besides that, this probably is like head to head with another Disney film, which we'll get to later, as the best Disney soundtrack ever. So
it's funny because Hellfire, I think, is probably one of the most underappreciated villain songs of all time.
Oh yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like,
so good, so powerful. And it's also the only time where we see Frollo have a feeling, that's not pure hate and resentment. Like, it's the first time that he's in love, but like in such a fucked up, unhealthy way.
Well, the thing is, what's great about that song is that it sort of is paired up with Heaven's Light, which is sort of meant to be this song where Quasimodo is talking about the first time feeling love, but then we pan over to Frodo and he has this distorted like view of it that more so ventures into the area of lust, and it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, 100% lust.
And like, this is Disney, man, talking about like this is like the only time that Disney is probably ever going to talk about lust in their movies.
And not only that, but also at the end of Hunchback, Quasimodo doesn't get the girl.
Exactly. Wait, I assume we've all seen this movie.
Yeah.
And
Hunter was on his phone.
I got distracted by the logo.
It's
looking at how the H and N be like wrapping around each other.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, that I honestly kind of love it that like Disney doesn't go with the whole main character falls in love, because that's not what the initial goal of Quasimodo is. His initial, like, the goal that he has is that he just wants to be accepted by society. And he does get that at the end. And it shows that you don't need romantic love to be accepted by your fellow person. And yeah, I love this movie so much. And like, yeah, it deserves so much more attention than it gets, even though it has developed like a following. Definitely people have recognized it as like one of the hidden gems of Disney. And yeah, I hope it continues that. But like, I think the reasoning Disney doesn't talk about this movie very much is because it's kind of a hard sell. Because on one hand, it's this movie that portrays this more dark and sinister story, but also you're trying to appeal to the Victor Hugo fans who actually think that this is like a sugar-coated version of the story, which it is, but compared to like Disney, like it's like a lot more darker. Disney. So like, yeah, probably with that whole finding an audience thing, but
yeah, I actually think I like the ending in this more than the actual book, because I think he dies in the book.
He does die.
Yeah.
Like, I think like 3 people wait. I think in the book,
I think Frollo too.
Frollo dies, Quasimodo dies, and then I think Esmeralda dies.
Frollo.
Yeah.
Frollo.
Samuel here. I remember the merchandising for Hunchback, and it was super appealing to young me who loved action figures. I'd like to see those action figures. It'd be interesting.
I just realized, did I say Frodo instead of Frollo?
Probably.
Froyo? The guy's name is Froyo?
Definitely different characters. All right. So we'll move on to my number 7, another
Shit.
Disney
Guys,
film.
guys. I have 6% battery. Let me go get my charger. But you guys go ahead. Let me just go get my charger.
All right. Well, speaking of great soundtracks, I think this is one of my favorite Disney soundtracks of all time. Phil Collins, incredible. Love every song he made in it. I love the animation style. Glenn Keane, he was the main animator for Tarzan. Love his style, and I want to say Tangled and even Frozen are kind of based off of his style. So they keep using it. It's really fantastic.
Yeah.
The villain in it is scary.
I just want to put my 2 cents in on Glenn Keane. He also, I believe he also animated Ariel from The Little Mermaid and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. So he's like an animation legend. Yeah.
He's the real deal, man. Yeah. Fantastic. What's his name? Clint. He's such a lovable bad guy. I mean, he's awful, but I just think he's amazing. I don't know, just shoving everyone around.
Wasn't it Clayton?
Or Clayton. Yes, Clayton. That's right. Yes. I want to say it's the guy who was Boss Nass in Phantom Menace who voiced him. Very distinguished British voice. Loved it so much. Yeah. I haven't read the books, but I'd like to at some point. Edgar Rice Burroughs is pretty awesome. He made this and John Carter. So, yeah.
Carter.
Yeah.
Bro, just look at this. The cover is like a watercolor painting.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite parts of Tarzan is just his body proportions are so cool and so 90s. It feels so 90s.
Yeah, it's like he's surfing on the vines or whatever.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
Got the Rogue Critic here. He says you loved Tarzan as a kid. And yes, the Phil Collins songs are great. Well said. When I was a kid, I had a poster of Tarzan in my room. So, yeah, just my whole life, I grew up loving this movie, loving the music. I missed the Tarzan Treehouse. Last time I went, it was shut down. So hopefully it comes back. I don't know. But, yeah, I love this movie. All right. So, Hunter, you're number 6.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
Maybe a pattern that we are going to find. No, not really. I think this is only my second and last Harrison Ford film. But
Henry has the best list out of everyone here. He has a god tier list.
Thank you. Are you all familiar with Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger?
I haven't seen it, but I'm familiar with it.
They're based off of like Tom Clancy novels, and it's Jack Ryan,
Yeah.
which there's those new Jack Ryan shows. Anyway, still being used, this character that Tom Clancy created, but I'm pretty sure he created it. I don't know. He wrote the book, so I would assume so.
Yeah.
But anyways, look, my movies are simple. This one has some incredible action scenes in it that get me so excited, especially because being an older film, and maybe this is just my own ignorance, but like the action is still captivating, I feel like, to a modern eye. Because like now we're so trained to like look at movies that are so absurdly over the top with their action and with what's going on and whatever you're seeing. Like McDonald's movies, I don't know what you would call them, but just like kind of
pretty much, yeah.
Movies from the machine that are like, they have to be over the top just to hold your attention. But like this movie isn't that. And even though I've been trained to like only enjoy movies that have lots of flashing lights, I can watch this movie and see action scenes that get me excited and get my heart pumping. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Because at the end, they go to like this cool house on the coast, and there's like guys breaking into the house with guns, and they're all running around and being crazy. And you're like, whoa, what's going to happen? I'm invested in this movie.
Yes.
I
love the action scene in the beginning where there's like a shooter, and that's actually this scene right here on the poster. He grabs a handgun and he takes down the guy. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I read it. Well, I didn't finish reading it because if I can't sit through a whole movie, I struggle through books too. But anyways, it's beside the point. And from what I read, which was very brief in the book, it felt to me pretty like a pretty decent adaptation. But that is all. I would have to finish the book. So, anyways, we don't have to take too much time on my movies because we're an hour in and we're on 6.
I'll just briefly say I think the Harrison Ford, Jack Ryan movies are severely underrated. No one talks about them. I think they need more fans. They're fantastic. Both of them are.
Pun intended.
Yes. All right. We'll move on to Adrian's number 6.
Oh shit! It's me. Oh yeah, I'm after Hunter, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. Wait, no, that makes no sense. Isn't it you, Harrison?
No, I just did Tarzan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, got confused.
It's all good. You were getting your charger.
Yeah, that's right. Magnolia. Well, I mean, everybody's seen this, no?
I have not.
No,
Hunter was on his phone, and Joe.
I've never
No,
seen it.
I haven't seen it, but
Oh, okay.
I've heard a lot of it about it.
When I looked up
Right.
good 90s movies this morning, this was on the list. So I
Well,
assume.
there you go. So yeah, this is. Fuck, 1 second. My back is going to let go of me in a second. I just have to for the last time. I'm an old man now, Harrison. It is what it is.
Yep.
Magnolia. Magnolia was my number 1 favorite movie of all time for at least 5 years. Number one of all time, of every movie ever. That was the number 1. That's PTA was such a huge inspiration. PTA made me want to pursue film when I was 16, 17. He was the reason why I got into this thing in the first place. Not like a loving movie. Well, actually he did. He actually showed me another way to love movies. Like, I did not love those kind of movies, those kind of like very strong and serious dramas before PTA. And Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and There Will Be Blood showed me a different perspective. Showed me another kind of entertainment, another way of being entertained by stories. Beyond the thoughtfulness of them. And so Magnolia was probably the greatest 3-hour epic drama I had ever seen. It was incredible to see such a film that had to do with human nature and human behavior be so epically driven, epically structured, epically paced. It's an epic. It's an epic that talks about real people with real life situations for 3 hours. It's a dance at the same time. It's a ballet. It works with music, sound design, with the acting is some of the best acting I've ever seen. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in there. John C. Reilly probably makes his greatest performance. Julian Moore is incredible. There's so many just giants of the screen in this. William H. Macy, my God, like Philip Baker Hall. It's incredible. It's nonstop, and it's structured in such a way that I feel like I've talked a lot about structure this decade. I don't know why. I feel like I'm starting to get obsessed with the way films are structured and the way it's paced and the way the filmmakers in a way manipulate you to feel a certain way at a certain time, and then how that pace changes over. It's actually quite incredible. So yeah, it's a masterpiece, and in the third act, it goes beyond anything you've seen before. It takes a huge risk, probably the biggest risk that modern dramatic cinema has ever taken. And I'm not going to spoil it because it's so huge. But I'll just say this: it's a biblical twist.
Hmm.
It's a twist that's that's inherited in the Bible, and it's unlike anything that's ever been seen before. So if you haven't been spoiled, because it's a big twist, it's a big moment in cinema history. Like it's known in pop culture. But if you don't know about it, uh it's yeah. So it's that's what it is. It's a good movie.
Yes. All right. So we'll move on to Joe's number 6.
Oh yeah.
Hey. So yeah, the Iron Giant. In my opinion, E.T. walked so that the Iron Giant could soar.
Ooh, I
Pun
like
Yes.
that. I like
Pun
that.
It is just better
entirely
E.T.
intended.
No, it's not better. Et. Come on, let's not go crazy
We
here.
talked about this
Let's-
last time we streamed the 80s, that I am not really a big fan of E.T.
Yeah,
But this one, like for me personally, like I'm able to connect to the story more. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the genius that is Brad Bird. Like, honestly, like, I think where he really strives is in the field of animation compared to live
Definitely.
action. I feel like that's really where he thrives. And what I've heard from, like, a really great line that I've heard about Brad Bird's films is that he makes his films for adults first, and then he makes sure that children can also watch them. Because like, I remember when I watched it as a kid, I felt so like mature being able to watch it, and it felt so cool. And yeah, like Brad Bird, he really knows how to like add that sort of extra layer of like maturity to his movies, and these sort of themes that you don't quite pick up on until you watch them years later as an adult. And yeah, it's really a shame that this movie was as much of a bomb as it was when it first came out, but it was really when he started working for Pixar and released The Incredibles and Ratatouille that he was known by sort of the general public more. And they look back on his filmography and see that, like, oh my gosh, he released another animated film. This has to be great. And yeah, it was. And it still is. And so really, it's sort of because of his work at Pixar that this has sort of received the attention that it now has, and is now revered as an animation classic. Yeah.
Tim Talks Talkies,
Realize-
Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Amen. So
Amen.
many fond memories.
And I literally just realized, just by looking at the poster, it was released, well, exactly 4 years before my birth.
Oh, wow.
On August 6th. Yeah.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
So I literally just realized that now. So that's another reason I like this movie now.
Just another layer.
Yeah.
All right. So this is my number 6. It's a movie we haven't talked about at all yet. No. I'll keep it brief because we talked a lot about it earlier. Just I have memories as a kid going to my great grandma's house, playing this on her VCR. I'm pretty sure we wore out that tape. I actually have it here. She passed away a couple years ago, so I inherited a lot of her VHS tapes. But I have a lot of fond memories of this movie. Just going over there on Sunday night, watching this movie with me, my cousins, and my brother too. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Now, one little critique I have on this specific poster I just noticed, it always bothered me that this is Buzz from the first, and then this is Woody from the second. So, like, the animation is totally different. But I don't know. It's just a minor nitpick. But
No, you're right. We should boycott it.
we're boycotting
Let's
this
never
movie
watch Toy Story 2 ever again.
But yeah, no, it's a great movie. I I just learned recently, Kelsey Grammer, he plays Pete, Stinky Pete or whatever his name is. I was like, what? That blows my mind. Fraser Crane is a villain. It just blows my mind. But yeah. All right. Oh, Road Critic says maybe this will come up later, but which is better, 1 or 2? I prefer 1.
2 for me.
2.
But 3 for me.
But 4? What are you talking about?
4? No, 4 is right under 3 for me.
My ranking would probably be like weakest one is the 4th, second weakest is the 1st, and then followed by the 3rd, and then the second one is the best one. Honestly, like I've talked to Nathan about it a couple of times, and I honestly kind of think that the first Toy Story is a tad bit overrated. Like I don't think it's bad or anything. Like I would say like solid 7 out of 10. Like I still enjoy it, but I don't think it's as like amazing and like close to perfection as so many people say.
No,
So
right.
yeah, but it's funny because Nathan's 2 favorite franchises are Indiana Jones and Toy Story, and I think both of them are a bit overrated in some regards.
Shout out to Nathan.
Just
This is for you.
Oh, that's funny. All right. You're number 5, Hunter.
Okay, hang on.
yeah.
Look, I
haven't seen it. Respect this choice.
I was thinking big brain moves. I was like, I gotta diversify my list. I can't just have action movies in here. I should add some other genres. And I like this movie a lot, so I put it on here. But do I have anything important to say about it? Not really. It did diversify my list.
Everything you say is gold. Everything that comes out of your mouth is absolute gold.
I've said the same thing about every movie every time, but
that's why it's so gold. It's so true and perfect. I love Notting Hill. I mean, I love Notting Hill, but then I rewatched it recently and I didn't love it as much, but I can't remember why. But Hugh Grant is a genius. So that's that.
And he's handsome. So like this movie's great.
So hot. He's like the hottest guy of all time.
I've never seen this movie, so I can't comment on it. But I like the poster. It's kind of interesting. All right. Adrian's number 5.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
so good.
Yeah, it's there's 3 magical there's 3 films for me that inspire magic or that emulate magic. Magic on when we say movie magic, for me there's only 3 films that does that. It's Star Wars, E.T., and this Edward Scissorhands. The scene when everybody's seen it, right? I'm not gonna bore.
I haven't. This is
You have not?
Really?
I know. Everybody says that like I
what
love
is
this movie and I have been meaning to watch it for years, but I just never have gotten around to it for some inexplicable reason. So
yeah, I mean,
get your torch and pitchforks ready and
Yes.
just come at my door and I'll expect you in about an hour. Just give me an hour and I'll be ready for you.
yeah, look, it's I'm trying to find other words than good. Are there other words than good? No, because I want to go the Hunter way, which is like saying the same thing, but like I'm trying to like just slightly change it, which is what Hunter does. Which is the ways of the geniuses and the pioneers. So I will say that yeah, there's I guess it's not really a spoiler. There's just a moment when, well, no, it is a spoiler. I'm not going to say it. It's magic. It's pure magic. It's classic Byrne. It's Johnny Depp's probably best performance, maybe after Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree
You
with
know,
that.
like maybe. It's so like the vulnerability in Johnny Depp in this film is unlike anything he's ever done after or before. So Johnny Depp was first featured in A Nightmare on Elm Street, right? That was his first role ever. Was Nightmare on Elm Street. And then I think it was this, or maybe something and then this. Something else and then this. But yeah, you know, like Byrne, you know, for me has fallen off the wagon for quite some time now. But you know, Pee-wee, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, and Batman and Batman Returns
Yeah.
are all-time classics that I believe will never age. So there you go. Edward Scissorhands is and also thanks to the score of Danny Elfman that
Yes.
brings the piece to the magical level that it's at. And by the way, music plays an enormous role in the magic of the films that we love. Actually, without that music, without that score, maybe it just doesn't reach that level. Like E.T. without John Williams doesn't reach that level. Star Wars without John Williams doesn't reach that level, right? And this without Elfman does not reach that level. So it's just what it is. And this is where we can truly say that music and score not just enhances but makes the movie just as much as the direction.
Agreed. All right, we got Evan Whalen here. His number 10 is The Last of the Mohicans. I haven't seen that one. I need to see that film.
It's a Michael Mann, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
That was one of my childhood films.
All right, number 9, American History X.
One of the
That
best
was brutal.
One of the best movies of all time.
Let's see, Iron Giant, Fargo. Nice. Fargo's good.
Never been a big fan of Fargo. It's good. That's good.
It's good. I think Raising Arizona is better.
Yeah. Casino, of course.
Casino.
Piano. Incredible.
Piano. Dazed and Confused.
Yes,
hey, Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
Let's see, you got Silence of the Lambs and Boys in the Hood. Haven't seen that one. Good list, Evan.
So I don't know if people. I was waiting for the hot take of the 90s for me, and I was waiting to see. I'm still waiting to see if it ends up on your list. So I don't want to say anything.
No.
But there's a movie in that list that Evan mentioned that that everybody loves, reveres, that I absolutely hate.
Ooh.
So, I just want to see if it's in any of your lists.
Yeah, we'll see. If it doesn't, you should let us know at the
Yeah,
end.
but just remind me.
Yeah. That's right, 4K Lowdown. Smash that like button, everyone. Hit the subscribe notification bell.
Yo,
too.
I'm going to die on this stream. You know that, right? I'm going to die. Like live.
And we're going to treasure every second of it.
That's it. I mean,
That's right. We're going to
Record it and send to everybody on the
I'm going to literally die. I can feel my back just slowly drifting away from me, from my control, and my stomach too. I'm about to like completely die live. So
well, let us know right before you expire so that we can kick you out.
Oh, you'll
Maybe you hear that comment too before you're gone.
the movie was
Yeah.
and yeah, so if you see me that's good programming right there. That's right. It's the marketing department, but
this is how we reel people in to like the next live stream. Like, will he make it to the next one or not?
That's right. But yeah, no, if you see me like, non-responsive, it's because I've probably passed away. So just, putting it out there, you guys do your thing.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. All right, Joe. Speaking of dead
people. Okay.
Maybe I'm already dead.
Yeah.
uh.
And yeah, who knows? So right before I say anything about this, I just want to say that I was spoiled with the twist of this, and so I
Me
want to
too.
assume that we have all seen this movie before.
I
go
haven't, but I was spoiled of the twist.
Yeah.
Yes, of course I've seen it.
I've
Yeah.
seen it too.
And I was so pissed off. But then when I actually saw the movie and it was like great, I was like, oh, great. So now I got a very well done movie. This is such a scam. Like, but the movie's great. Probably like, not probably. This is unfortunately the height of M. Night Shyamalan's career in terms of just like great movies. And I'm really hoping that like he can like make a movie that's like up to the quality of The Sixth Sense, but we'll see. I mean, I definitely have like a lot of respect for M. Night Shyamalan. I think I love the way he talks about movies, and he definitely has a lot of passion for movies, and I love that. And yeah, this film like is able to really keep you on the edge of your seat and get you so emotionally involved. And there's a great underlying story amidst all of like the ghost stuff that's happening with the kid played by I'm blanking
Haley
out
Joel
on his.
Osment?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he also provides probably one of the best child performances that I've ever seen in a movie. Like, I am extremely, you have no idea. I am so like I am so picky, and I am so like just I blow no punches when it comes to child performances. So the fact that like I say that Haley Joel Osment is great in this movie, it's really like I think just for me personally, like if the kid is not like I don't know, it's so hard to like direct kids and like it's like yeah. So I'm kind of rambling now, but yeah. So that part really I appreciate about this movie, and yeah, I'm like pulled in whenever like I watch this movie, and yeah.
Well said. All right. 4K Lowdown says it was M. Night Shyamalan's home run for sure. Yeah, I need to see this one still. I haven't seen any of his movies, I don't think. So
Wait, I just asked everyone if you have seen the movie, and you all
No.
said yes. So you just lied to me, Harrison. What the heck?
No.
You just flat out lied to me, man.
Just flat out lied.
You said you hadn't seen it, no?
I haven't seen it, but the ending was spoiled to me.
Oh.
So, yeah, the twist was anyway.
When I watched the movie spoiled the ending to me, and I was very unhappy. But just kidding. That was not a funny comment.
It was
trying to
actually.
interject.
I laughed. I was just muted.
All right. So we'll move on to my number 5, another Pixar movie.
Is that
Bugs
Seven
Life.
Samurai?
Yeah. Is that Magnificent Seven?
Right.
Is that the Avengers? No, it's A Bug's Life. So I know this isn't Pixar's best movie, but I like how in this movie the ants kind of stand up to the grasshopper. I just like that storyline. And just how they all grouped together and defeated them. I also like a lot of the famous actors that are in the movie. Like you got Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Princess Ada. You got Dave Foley as Flick. Who else is in it? A lot of comedians too. A lot of 90s comedians. But I just love the movie. Animation's not the best, I'll admit, but and I miss the ride they had at California Adventure. It's gone now. So hopefully whatever they do with the Ant-Man stuff kind of captures the magic of this. Because there's like a giant cereal box and whatnot. You're kind of immersed into it. And I love that 4D experience ride they had, where they like spray on you and all that. Kind of gross, but it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. Like,
it is highly underrated. Yeah, and I don't know why people don't talk about it more. I don't know if
I just,
Disney's
like-
trying to hide it. I don't know.
I don't know. I think compared to like the usual Pixar catalog, I guess, the story here is like, I guess, not as ambitious.
Mhm.
But for me personally, like, it's just fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's very
It's
much
more than that. It has
Yeah.
so much heart and shit. It's amazing.
It's got a lot of heart. You're muted, Hunter.
Occasionally,
I know, I wasn't gonna
Adrien
say.
will say
No.
something profound.
I just thought it was funny that he was like, "It's got heart and crap," and then I just remembered how they're all bugs, and there's a dung beetle in the movie, but
There is a dung beetle. Or who ordered the poo poo platter? Yeah.
Who ordered the poo poo platter?
Oh wow, that was an
Thank you,
amazing,
thank you.
amazing. Oh my god, what can you not do?
Oh, gosh.
Resurrect Adrian. That's maybe something he can't do. I
Yeah,
don't
this is gonna be tough.
Yes.
Well, maybe I'll get
Anyways.
you with my number 4, but
Yes. Which is coming up right now.
oh snap!
Oh,
Pixelated Stargate.
Oh yeah.
Look, I had no
Look,
idea.
it has a lot of action.
It's got a lot of action.
It does.
I just looked it up. I had no idea, but this movie has James Spader in it.
It does, yeah.
Anyways, look, I'm a very visual person. If we come over to my screen, this isn't Zoom, so I can't share screen. Can I?
No.
No.
I only
Okay.
have permissions to do that.
Right now, I'm looking at an image of James Spader and Kurt Russell, and it looks great. And his hair is long, and it looks like the 90s, and I love this movie. And that is my take on Stargate, because I have a very unoriginal list.
Oh gosh. No, this is a good movie. I agree. I love Kurt Russell in it too. He just made some really awesome movies in the 90s. I love how it's all connected to science fiction, but then also history with like the Egyptian stuff. Really interesting. You don't see that too much. Like there's little pyramids that are rockets. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Have you seen this movie, Adrian or Joe?
Mm-mm,
No,
I haven't.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, check it
Aliens.
out.
Egypt, Kurt Russell. What more do you need in a movie?
What more do you need? It's basically the action version of Dune.
Oh, snap. That is so true.
It's basically Dune.
Look, giant space portals that let them go back in time and find out that there's aliens and stuff and whatever. And yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a great movie. And I haven't seen any of the shows, so if anyone in the chat has seen it, let us know. But it's a great movie. I agree, Hunter. All right. Adrian's number 4.
Yeah. Well, what? What do you want me to say?
Something.
What is there to say? Joe will say that it's the best soundtrack of all time on Disney. Is that correct or no?
I refuse to answer.
I'll take that as an answer.
So if they're not saying it, then I am. It is the best soundtrack. It's hard to say of all time in animation history, but
It's definitely up there.
it's up
'cause-
there for sure. I'm just trying to think if it's number one. Anywho, greatest animated film of all time. I don't know what else to tell you. Just it's hard to talk about things that everybody has talked about and everybody has seen, right? Because it's like, what value are you going to add? I guess the first time, what struck me the most, and for a Disney film, the same way that Frollo was, Hunchback was about lust and villainy and the good guy not getting the girl and all of that, and this was about death. right? The death of a parent.
Mhm.
And that was such an insane risk for Disney to do. Now, granted, it wasn't the first time Bambi had done it, but Bambi 1 was 50 years before, and it was also more subtle.
It's off camera.
It was off camera.
Mhm.
It was off camera. That's right. It was suggested in Bambi.
Yeah. Like we
Um,
don't even see the body
right,
or
right,
hear the word death.
right. It was
So-
alluded. Like, of course, we got it, but still, Lion King was the first time that we. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Every time there's like I hear just the beginning of the Hans Zimmer notes, I can't hold it. So yeah, no, it's one of those things that make no sense. I mean, it's one of those things that are it's a good movie.
Thoughts on the animated remake?
Do you mean the live
Next.
action remake?
Next.
It's live action, but it's animated. Come on.
Well, technically, they use CGI, so it is animated.
It is
Even though
animated.
Disney wants
I
to
don't have any
live
opinion on it.
action.
I saw 5 minutes of it and turned it off.
That movie makes me so angry in so
I-
many ways.
But and I really also like, weirdly, the Kovu Lion King. I think it was Lion King. Was it 2 or
Yeah, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride.
Simba's Pride? For some reason, I like that one, and
Yeah.
I even like the songs.
And both movies spawned a million furries.
Yeah. Like, I hate the Disney sequels in general, but that one was I liked. I did not love, but I liked it. I like the chemistry between Kovu and his girl,
Kiara.
Kiara.
Yes,
That's right.
yes, I know that. Like, it's weird that I know all these details. Just
No. I think it's great. Love Will Find a Way was such a great song. It's a great song. Yeah, but no, Lion King. There's nothing else to say. There's no point. I don't know
4K Lowdown agrees. The spin-offs are good.
Yeah,
Have you s-
not all of them, but the Kovu one was the Simba's Pride. I don't know why. I really like it.
Have you seen 1.5? It's
That's the one I can sit through.
Oh, really? I kind of like it. It's silly, but
It is silly. No, but Lion King 2, I was into it. Like, it was like, not important, but it was like, Oh, also in Lion King, I guess we could talk about, Be Prepared being one of the greatest villain songs of all time, right? So Hellfire, Be Prepared, but the number one remains Anastasia, Rasputin's in the Darker of the Night song, that I think will never be surpassed as the ultimate villain song. Except when Hunter comes out with his single. That will be the ultimate villain song. Until then, it's Rasputin.
My villain song is gonna pull after the 70s classic Rasputin.
There you go.
all right. Well, on to Joe's number 4.
All right, so this is kind of one that I think I kind of have to go back to, like, every holiday season. Like, when I first saw it, honestly, my brother kind of made me watch it. But like, when I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is actually like really entertaining, and there's a lot of heart, and like, why am I so emotionally like invested in this? And yeah, it's kind of a comfort watch as well. Like, I just have to go back to it now, I think probably in the holiday season. And the score by John Williams is great, as usual.
Yep.
And yeah, I get a
God
bit
that he scored this.
ending as well.
Yeah. What do you think of the second one?
I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
it's kind of the same one. It's the same movie but set in New York, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like bad, but like I don't know. Just
No, this is definitely better.
yeah.
Yeah, and it says John Hughes. Did he direct it or did he produce it? I can't
I think he
remember.
was a
Produce-
producer.
produce.
He
He
didn't
produced
direct
it. Okay. Yeah, well, I think it's the same house in that as in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
one. Like
So,
the
looks like Adrien died.
Adrien died.
oh no, oh, no.
Pobrecito.
Macaulay Culkin killed him.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin.
It was the Wet Bandits.
He's lucky he didn't kill himself. Okay.
This
Yeah.
movie doesn't make a super big deal about it, but I absolutely love what it says about judging people by their cover. Because
Yeah, the
at
neighbor.
the end, the neighbor, like, it made me look at my neighbors differently because, like, I don't know. He found out he was a nice old man with a good heart. And, like, there are so many good people out there. You got to go see him and say hello.
I always judge
Like
people.
my favorite scene is like the one in the church where like they're just talking. Like
Yes.
oh, that's such a great scene.
I always judge people by their cover. For example, Hunter judged him immediately, knew he was a genius. There's no, two ways about it.
Thank you. That is the cover I'm putting on today.
Yeah.
All right. 4K Lowdown says Kevin from Home Alone grew up and became the collector,
Yeah.
I think.
That's right.
All right. So we'll go on to my number 4, Saving Private Ryan.
Total change. What?
Total change. Has everyone seen this movie?
I have not.
No. How?
I know.
But that one,
The thing is-
really?
Well, the thing is, I was going, like, I think in high school, I was in a film appreciation club and we were going to watch this movie. But then the day that we were going to watch it, everybody moved classrooms. And I had no idea about it until 3 weeks later and I totally missed it. So I've always had a vendetta against that film appreciation class for making me miss out on watching this movie. So, and I still haven't seen it. Maybe that's why.
I haven't
Well, it's on
seen it.
Amazon Prime. Oh, you haven't seen it either?
Mhm.
Ah,
I want to.
well, I won't get too much into the details, but what I love is in this movie they kind of show the camaraderie of the group, the unit that's together, and then when they finally meet Ryan, they kind of hate each other a little bit. Usually you'd think they'd try to bond together, but no, they were clashing heads. And I also love though. Just kind of how emotional it is and how patriotic it is. And it's a pretty gruesome movie. I mean, the first 8 minutes is the storming of Normandy. Like, my goodness, it is brutal and
Did you say
very gory.
Did you say 8 minutes?
Is it longer? I can't remember, but it's like,
you mean 30?
is it like 30? Okay.
Yeah.
Even longer. It's, ooh, my goodness. Just a total bravery, those guys who really did that. It just still blows me away. Like,
What's incredible about Ryan is okay. So the Rogue Critic is about.
Here we go.
No. But I don't disagree. Well, first of all, 69 Mega, has said to stop watching the stream, but to find love. So that's
69 Mega was watching the. Dang it! I forgot the guy, the director of the Love movies. Anyway, sorry.
You mean Gaspar Noé?
No, the director of the movies, the Chinese guy who made those movies.
Oh, Wong Kar-wai. That's right. So 69 Mega. Thank you for the alpha and the value that you bring to the chat every month. We really appreciate it. So that's first of all. Second of all, Rogue Critic. So he just said what I'm thinking. So I'm not as harsh as him, right? But Saving Private Ryan has a jaw dropping, but the rest is a letdown. I kind of agree while not agreeing completely. Meaning, like, I agree that it's a letdown compared to that opening sequence.
I can see that.
But
Yeah.
but it's still really good. But it's less interesting for me. It's a less interesting film after the Normandy Beach sequence, because the Normandy Beach sequence is so real that war veterans said and were quoted to have said that when they saw that sequence, it was the only time in their lives that brought them flashbacks to that time. Even the other war films, they were never really, they were always romanticized, or they were always told from one perspective and not the other. And it was the first time that someone had made this sequence so honest. And I think that's what Spielberg has done better than anyone, I feel like, is really being truly honest to the stories that he tells. Whether it's about an alien or whether it's about, war heroes. And so that opening sequence is done with such honesty, such realism, that it's a documentary, but it's not, and it's and I don't understand how you can capture that so realistically. And every war veterans that have been on that beach have said that to watch that was to watch their story from an external point of view. It was like a camera was filming them. So unlike anything anyone has ever seen before. So after that, it becomes a walk-in picture. It becomes okay, we have to find the soldier, right? It becomes a walk-in to the quest. And it's really good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. But it's hard to it's really hard to compare to how do you say, to compete with that first 30 minutes. And you know what's funny? When Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark was done, and the studio was watching a first cut, and the opening of Raiders, when Indiana Jones goes to the cave, gets the fucking golden the idol, right? And then goes through the trap, and then gets away, gets to the plane, right? That whole sequence was 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And when the studios watched that, they were incredibly afraid. They were incredibly fearful, because they thought that the rest of the movie was not going to live up to that opening, because it was so good. That opening is so good. It just makes no sense how good it is. But the rest was fine, right? And so the rest was just as good. I feel like in Private Ryan, he went above and beyond, and the rest just couldn't live up to that. But I think that's also an unfair assessment, because we're talking about genius. So anyway, that was a long rant to say that I agreed with the Rogue Critic.
Yeah. One more thing I'll add. I like too how some of the characters are kind of cowards. Like, not all of them are super heroic and all that. So it feels a lot more realistic to what really happened.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. The same way that Louis Milestone, when he made Western Front, right? All Quiet on the Western Front, it was from the German perspective.
Yeah, it's from the German point of view,
right? Which is insane to do in 1930 in America, from an American, right?
Right, Universal.
The Universal said, okay. Now, Carl Laemmle, they're immigrants, but still, like, from Universal to make a war movie from the perspective of the enemy, I think is the most,
like, that's debatably like something that would still maybe be hard to like get made maybe today.
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, but I feel like since the Vietnam War films, since like people have started to, like when World War II came out, when World War II came out,
when it came out nice and packaged,
after World War II, World War II was very clear. Right, the enemy was clear, right? It was very black and white. I mean, even though it wasn't, it was very black and white, right? The enemy, the evil was Germany and the Nazis, right? And it was clear, right? Clear as light. And then the entire world got together, band together, or most of the world, not the entire world, but got together to fight that common enemy. When Vietnam came along, it was the first time where we were like, wait a second, what's going on here? Like, why are we there? Like, what's the actual reason? Protests in the street, right? Like obviously we know what happened. So when the movies came out, like Platoon, like Hamburger Hill, fuck the
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, but Michael fucking Deer Hunter.
Oh,
Right?
Deer Hunter. Yeah,
When
yeah.
all those films came out that were against the system, against the American government, right? That went against that. I feel like there was more of a moment of like, okay, we can start to criticize war. Whereas before it was just patriotic, right? So I feel like today, I mean, especially with the Iraq war films, like the modern warfare films, we've seen more and more criticism. So yeah, like 4K Lowdown brings a good point. Like Letters from Iwo Jima. Yeah, that's a very of course that's a very, very good point. So I feel like it could be done today. I feel like we can criticize our government, pretty, and it wasn't just about the government, but it was like World War II was just a time where everybody got together. I mean, look at Yankee Doodle Dandy, right? Like when World War I hits off, like everyone, is contributing to the war effort. It was an American thing to do. And then when Vietnam happened, I feel like everything changed. Like literally everything changed. Like the mindset of people changed on war, on what it meant to be an American, and on patriotism. And yeah, it's an interesting study.
Well said. All right. Number 3, Hunter.
Adrien, were you talking about this movie?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I knew
yes,
it.
yes. That's why I was like, I was waiting if someone was gonna come in. Oh, I'm a little sad that it was Hunter, because but I still think he's
got
a
to your
genius.
list. Come on.
I still think he's a genius. But anyway, I'm the minority here. So whatever. Go ahead, Hunter.
So
I'll give my hot take.
One of the reasons why I put this movie, why I like this movie. Well, I don't know if I like it, but I like it. Anyways, until I was 18, I didn't watch any movies that were rated R. So when I turned 18 and I now had this newfound freedom to watch whatever I wanted, it was one of the first films I watched. And it was one of the first films where afterwards I was like, am I supposed to learn something from this movie, or do I just feel weird inside my stomach now? So I really liked that and continued to find movies that kind of expanded my vision on what filmmaking can be. If you notice, the other movies on my list were pretty much just action movies. But anyways, there might be more still. But that's kind of one of the main reasons. I had seen some YouTube videos where people really praise this movie a lot. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And then I watched it and was like, I agree. So there's my 2 cents on the Silence of the Lambs.
I respect that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a film like that got you to like see different perspectives. Yeah, Mia did the exact contrary. I obviously you know what? I saw it I wouldn't say recently, but recently enough, right? Like I didn't see it back in like when I was 17, 18, like everyone else. I saw it way later. It was the one classic that I had never seen. One of the classics I had never seen. And everybody hyped it so much. And I don't think it was because of the hype or anything. Because there's been hyped films that I totally agreed with. Like Seven Samurai, for example, had been overly hyped. And it's my top 5 of all time. So, but Silence of the Lambs, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I just could not take it seriously. I thought that everything was so stereotypical, like from the acting to the like the the super seriousness of everyone, like overly being serious about everything. For me, like most of the plot made no sense. The way Anthony Hopkins got out of the jail, got out to the thing. I mean, most of it for me was falling on its head on a pure just plot
Pun
basis.
intended.
I didn't believe in the villain at all. I thought it was, and I'm not talking about Anthony Hopkins. I'm talking about the
Buffalo Bill guy.
the Buffalo Bill. I did not believe him 1 second. I thought the whole thing was quite ridiculous. Is really what I would call it. Like I just didn't believe in any of it. I thought it was uninspired, even in its direction. But I felt that a lot in Jonathan Demme's work. Even though I really like Philadelphia, I never really liked his direction. I don't like the way he frames his shots. I'm not a fan, and I know like PTA like reveres him, but I just think it's like classic. It's like normal. I find nothing too crazy about it. But it's a huge hot take, obviously. Like, oh, the Rogue Critic. Wow, that's insane. Like, no one agrees with me. Like people, like I've gone on follows for this, like actual follows, and like people have like it's the one thing I can't like really like. It's the one hot take that people take offense to. Like a lot of people like I can like have a hot take on pretty much anything, but the Silence of the Lambs is a big one. I remember when Nathan Evan, I remember when Nathan was like putting the Silence of the Lambs, he was putting what's it called? He was showing my letterbox. We were on a live, and he was showing my letterbox most hated films. Silence of the Lambs came. I was like, what? But,
no!
Yeah, I just could not. I was so bored to by it. Like I was extremely like, I was waiting for something to happen that was interesting, and I thought everything was very easy too. The way like the way the plot unfolded. I'd seen this 1,000 times in noir films or otherwise. Yeah, just the just very I find it very uninspired for some reason. And I guess like the script and the banter is interesting with like Jodie Foster's character, and like her relationship with Hopkins is interesting. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But that was about that's about it. I don't even like Hannibal. Like the villain is, yeah, he's fine. He's whatever. He's no psycho.
Bro, he ate people.
Yeah, like he's no what's the villain name in Psycho?
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates. He's no Norman Bates. Like he's no like I don't know. It's just like, again, like we hyped that film and this villain so with such. It's just for me. It was just like, okay, dude, whatever. In that final confrontation in the dark, like
Keep in mind, I still haven't seen this movie. So.
I haven't either.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Look, it's got
great.
some beautiful imagery though. There's a great scene where a dude makes an angel with his body, and it looks cool. Anyway.
Yeah, it's dude. Like, I don't know. It's never got into the hype of Silence. And 4K Lowdown said, "Love Philadelphia." Yeah, and I really like Philadelphia. I same director, right? I really like Philadelphia. Again, like the direction I find uninspired for some reason. Like I'm not at all a fan of his aesthetic, of Jonathan Demme's aesthetic and shot choices. Like I'm not attracted by it at all. I don't really like him as a director, just in general.
Wow, Adrien, way to use Hunter's time just
It's
to
crazy to hate it like this, though.
Thank
to
you.
each their own. Yeah, I know it is crazy to hate it like that, but I guess it was just I remember myself watching it and being so angry that people loved it so much. Like I was like, why the fuck are people loving this? It's like I don't get it. And the whole eagle, the eagle spread with the police and the justice, like how did you have time to do that? Like,
Bro,
there's just so many things where it's like,
he doesn't need
like,
time to do that. It looks cool.
it looks cool, but they've set it up as a grounded film, like as a film grounded in reality.
He's just done with you.
Evan said, "To be fair, I fucking hate Magnolia," which I absolutely understand, because Magnolia is a hard film to even get into. Like it's hard to get into. It's once you get into it that becomes genius, but it's not for everyone, for sure. Whereas Silence of the Lambs is supposed to be for everyone, and it's just not for me. It's for everyone but me. So there you go. Rant over.
Anything else you want to add, Hunter?
No, I want to hear rant part 2 with Adrian's number 3.
Oh, yeah. Move on to Adrian's number 3.
So, Hunter, what do you have to say? Do you have to? Let's hear the hate. Go ahead. I'll say
I
the
like-
love after. Go.
Wait, is it in a different language originally?
Yeah, it's
La
Italian.
vita è bella.
E bella. That's right.
Bella?
Go ahead.
Oh, in Spanish, it would be bella. My bad. I know nothing about this film.
No, but please, like this is your chance to hate on it.
If I learned anything about in Silence of the Lambs, my all-time favorite movie, it's that life is not beautiful. Therefore, this movie has no ground.
Actually, the movie of the yeah, that's true. So this film, who has not seen it?
I have
I
not.
have not seen it. The thing is, I have only seen the first hour, and I have never finished the movie. But no. Listen, I wanted to. I really wanted to, but for some inexplicable reason, I never did, and I never have. And that's on my like movie thing bucket list, or like no, not bucket list, like just things I know like I gotta check off really quickly, because it's like I just gotta start this from the beginning to like actually
Make sure you do this before you break your back, like myself, and about to die in front of a stream.
Okay.
This film, we were talking about poetry earlier, and this is Italian poetry, and it's poetry. It's okay. Talking about World War II and talking about poetry and talking about humor, right? Because we talked about humor with Home Alone, we talked about poetry with Malick, and we talked about World War II with Saving Private Ryan and Thin Red Line. This is a mix of those three things. Now you're going to tell me, what? A film about the Holocaust? Not about World War II, about the Holocaust, but with humor, right? So it's a comedy, but it's a dramedy. It's a perfect blend of comedy and drama about the Holocaust. It's hard to say it, like, because I'm trying to think of like what I could say to people that have never seen it without spoiling it, because we were talking about magic earlier, and this is one of those as well. This is one of those magical films where just it works, where the comedy and the drama just hit so perfectly that you can't stop crying for months and months and years afterwards. A film that never dies, that sticks with you. It's a 2-part film almost. Like the first hour of the film is one movie, the second hour is another movie.
See, I've seen like the first,
right,
like the one movie.
So you didn't get to the Holocaust part, and when you get there, it's the tone can turn off a lot of people, because it's, again, comedy in the Holocaust. You would think that would be in horrible taste, and yet it is done with such love, such understanding of the subject matter, with under the pretense of family, and under the it's about family, it's about hope, it's unthinkable. It's one of those unthinkable films that with such energy. It's a film with such vibrance and such energy by Roberto Benigni, a genius of Italian cinema, who just made that one movie at the right time, at the right place. He had the right idea at the right time, executed it to the T, And there's yeah, it's one of those. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie that everyone has to see. Everyone, and that's for everyone, and it's so important. And it truly is a testament to when they say that comedy, the more make people laugh so that when they cry, they understand why they cry. It's like you're laughing, and then you're crying when you least expect it. And the reason you're crying so much is because you laughed so much at all the right reasons. And you're crying so much at all the right reasons too. And it all blends together. And that's where comedy and drama meets. And that's the relationship between the two that makes those films beyond just good. Right. And Parasite is a good recent example of a comedy for the first hour that turns into this serious, this honest drama, and that always was this honest drama. It was just done. It's just your perspective changed during the film because of how honest it was portrayed. And a life is a comedy and a drama in any circumstance, right? And so those films, I feel like, go above and beyond to show that. And I think it's part of the playbook that we should all aspire to do, in our work, is to manage that comedy aspect of life, and the serious aspect of it, and the serious, and how you mix the two, how you blend the two. Something that I still struggle with a lot in my work, of like, how do I blend? How do I manage that? How do I make this not too goofy or not too serious? It's a hard line. It's a hard line to dance on, and Benini dances on it perfectly in Life is Beautiful.
All right.
So that's that.
Beautifully said.
Well said.
Thank you.
Also,
All right. Tonal change.
Yes.
This is also about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
It's an allegory for yeah, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Even though it says Tim Burton's, it is actually, well, actually, let's get on to that, because we briefly touched upon it when Harrison brought it up. So Tim Burton, he wrote the poem that this movie is based on. He came up with the characters, the concept, the ideas, the design of it. He came up with all of that. But the problem was he was too busy working on, he was incredibly busy with the sequel to Batman that he had made. So
Batman Returns.
Yes. So he handed the baton onto Henry Selick, who would go on to direct Coraline. So Tim Burton definitely knew what he was doing by handing the reins to Henry Selick, I love this movie. I think the real thing that is praised by everyone is just the aesthetic of it. And upon my recent rewatch of this for Halloween, you really notice all of the detail that is put into the stop motion. I'm pretty sure this was had a record with how many heads they used for the characters so that it could be as expressive as possible. And you really see that there's this passion that the stop motion animators had with this. And the thing is with stop motion is that filmmakers and people who work in stop motion, there's sort of this awareness that compared to something that's computer animated, it's not going to do very well. But they do it anyway because they're so passionate about it, even though they know that it's probably not going to be very successful. Like, I would say the only really big successful stop motion animated films would be this, Coraline, and that's all I can think of right now. And they've only made
Chicken Run.
moderate, and they've only, what's that?
Corpse
Chicken
Bride.
Run. I said Chicken Run.
Oh yes, Chicken Run. That was a really big hit.
Corpse Bride.
Right.
I think that was like moderate. But the thing is, even when those movies do well, they usually only do like very moderately well. Like, yeah,
That's
they do
true.
make more than the budget.
No, you're
but
right.
They're not like, they don't make it to like the highest grossing animated films of all time, like
You're right.
Frozen, Finding Dory, whatever. But they do it anyway because they love what they do. And that's like the epitome of like
Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean they love what they do?
stop motion animators, just people who
Oh
work
yeah.
in stop
Oh
motion.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's I have so much respect for stop motion and folks who work in stop motion because of all of that work that you put in with like minimal audiences, but like it, there's like this, there's something so cool about like everything being made by hand, like physically by hand. And like I acknowledge I really didn't give it the appreciation that it deserved as a kid, but like now as an adult, it's like if there's like a stop motion film, like a new stop motion animated film that's released in theaters, I gotta see it. Like specifically, like I love the works of Wes Anderson with like what he does, but I feel like with The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's kind of the principle, the staple for stop motion animation. It's kind of the first stop motion animated film that a lot of people think of. And like, it's still so prevalent in our pop culture today. And it's a real principle as well for the holiday season, whether it's Halloween or Christmas. Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Oh, not to mention, hold on, that like this has one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Like, not a single skippable track in this movie. Like, every song is amazing. It's catchy as hell. And like, whether it's the holiday season or not, I always listen to the soundtrack. It is phenomenal.
Here comes Halloween. I gotta say, does everybody in this room know? I'm going to die. Does everybody in this room know how long it takes for stop animation? Well, Joe, of course, you know, but for anyone else, how long it takes for stop animation to be done? Like, do you know like the process of it?
I think this is an appropriate time to say that Harrison and I have made some pretty successful animated films in our lifetime.
Amazing.
With Legos.
With Legos and action figures and puppets.
That were all stop motion?
They were all stop motion.
They were, yep.
Amazing. So you know how long it takes. Okay, so I don't know if you guys knew this. Wait, I think I talked about this in the 80s. Decade of the 80s. But it's just cool to know, like, for the people in the chat, because I didn't know this. The Battle of Hoth with the AT-ATs, stop motion. All done in stop motion. All of that battle. Just one AT-AT after the other.
So cool.
So, you know, crazy. But
yeah, so when we were kids and we made that scene, we were, you know, really trying to make it look real. We were really working really hard, Harrison and I.
Yeah, when George Lucas called us, we had to use our expertise for that.
Yeah, you guys were there in the 80s. You guys were there in Return of the Jedi.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. That was the sound of pre-death. That's what pre-death sounds like.
That's the warning sign. Well, we still got a couple more, so hang in there.
Mostly death.
Oh my god.
4K load down, 18 months.
That's funny.
I can't imagine that'd be a little difficult, but it is catchy.
Wow, we're at 3. I don't even know what my first 2 are.
All right. So this is my number 3.
Oh.
Office Space.
Yeah, of course. Judge.
Yep, Mike Judge.
Of course.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Love the comedy in it. I actually right here have a red swing line stapler. It's not a prop; it's an actual stapler I use.
Oh, amazing.
No, I love this movie. I quote it all the time, especially the scene where they're like smashing up the printer with the baseball bat and all that. It's just a hilarious movie. Love Milton. He's the weirdo guy with the stapler. It's just the characters that Mike Judge creates are just hilarious. Like they're so odd and quirky, and yet they're just so perfect for the types of movies he does. The only thing I could think of that's kind of similar would be like Napoleon Dynamite, which what's his name? Jared Hess did. I like these kind of comedies. They're kind of more up my speed. I like the more finding comedy in the most boring and mundane of places. I think that's just the best. And you know, who hasn't felt like they had a terrible boss or like they had a horrible time, you know, at work, or see some people get promoted who do nothing at work, right? Like it's a very relatable movie. But has everyone seen it? I forgot to ask.
I haven't,
You haven't?
but I've
All
heard
right.
a lot about it.
Well, I think you will be thoroughly pleased. It's hilarious. I actually have a box here. I won't open it, but a couple years ago they released, like they have the jumping to conclusions game in it. They have a stapler. Like they have a couple things in it. They're really funny from the movie. Anyways, though, little fun fact about this movie. If I don't want to butcher it, but from my understanding, the creators of The Office saw this movie and wanted to make a TV show about it, but they had to change it a little bit, and they based it off of the British Office show as well, from my understanding.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So everyone who's seen The Office, I think, will really like Office Space as well. It's a good companion movie for it.
Harrison, would you say that this movie had an influence on your use of the Hawaiian shirt?
Yes. Today is Hawaiian Shirt Day. Or I actually have an Initech mug that what's his name? Lumberg uses. He's like, yeah. I even dressed up as it for Halloween one year. Yeah, that was fun. But everyone thought I was Dwight Schrute, though. That was very disappointing. It's like, no. Anyways.
Hunter second.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's your number 2.
Yes,
Oh,
Hunter.
snap.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
back on top. You're back on top.
Oh,
Hunter.
man.
So,
Hunter,
personally,
you officially have my respect.
thank you, Joe. That means a lot to me. So, just to be brief, I am an artist. I love art and drawing and painting and whatever, realistic, cartoony, whatever. I love it all. And when I want to be inspired and I want to just let my imagination go crazy, I watch this movie because it is like, I don't even get it a lot, I will admit, but like, it's just so breathtaking. I absolutely adore this movie. I even have I've seen a lot of the artwork that they created, like creating the movie, and like all these beautiful paintings that they did of like these beautiful set pieces that they created. And like, I don't know, you can't find that anywhere else. Like you have to come to this movie to be able to see that. And that is why it's on my list. That's why it's high on my list. It's one of the few that I would argue would have been high on my list if I put it in the correct order because I don't know, it's an exceptionally beautiful visual masterpiece.
I own the soundtrack on vinyl, and yeah.
That's awesome. I remember watching part of it with you, but I never finished it, so I need to watch it.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you have never seen this movie. Adrien, have you seen it?
1,000 million times. It's the greatest thing of all time.
Yes.
What do you want to do?
And additionally, this is like, I think this was the last Ghibli film to be animated in, I think, with where like the color was like painted in by hand or something. Or wait, no, I think I have that wrong. It was, I think, it was animated in like a different way or something. And then the next Ghibli film, or like, I think, I don't have the exact words and like animation grammar for it, but it was like the last of Ghibli's films that was animated in one way until they switched to another way with the Yamadas and Spirited Away. And then Spirited Away, the way that it was animated there just became the staple for the rest of their movies.
Was it cell animation by chance?
I think so, but I'm pretty sure that like it's still cell animation that they use, but I could be wrong on that. For some reason I can't remember what the exact like animation grammar is for what it's called.
Cool. All right. Adrien, are you still alive?
Barely. Barely.
Well, here's your number 2.
Oh, there you go. The goat.
The goat.
I had forgotten that it was this.
It's actually a lamb. No.
That's funny.
Okay. What do you want me to say? Have you all seen it or no?
It's a good movie.
It is a very good movie.
You've all seen it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then that's it. Then let's get to Joe's number 2.
Okay.
It's my favorite animated film actually of all time. It's my favorite, right? Like the best, maybe it's Wall-E, maybe Lion King, but this is my favorite. We talked about heart, right, and honesty when you tackle a subject. I feel like all the greatest films of all time all have honesty behind it, and that's why they're the greatest films of all time. That being said, talking about soundtrack, that's the contender to Lion King. Okay, so here's the thing. I think that Lion King has the best score of any animated films, and Prince of Egypt has the best soundtrack. There is no other animated films with those songs that beats those. It's the songs of the Prince of Egypt, Deliver Us, and everything. You're talking about an unskippable soundtrack.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
It's all brilliant. I've seen this film 1,000 times. And even like the animation, the way they meshed computer and traditional, the way the behind the scenes with Katzenberg trying to sell his religious movie, his Exodus movie that nobody wanted, that it took, building a studio like DreamWorks. This was DreamWorks' second film that they've ever made after Ants. And
quite the change in
tone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this was originally going to be their first movie that would have been released under DreamWorks, under the DreamWorks name.
Yep.
But there was a whole issue. Well, no, there was a whole thing because Katzenberg was still friends with John Lasseter, and they were talking about, and John Lasseter was talking to Katzenberg about A Bug's Life, and then word came out that DreamWorks was making a movie called Ants, and the Pixar people were like, "Huh, that's a little suspicious. After we talked about our Bugs movie, you're making a Bugs movie. What the heck?" And then Katzenberg was saying, like, "Okay, I can stop the production of Ants if you move the release date of Prince of Egypt further away. No. If you move the release date of A Bug's Life further than the Prince of Egypt, because we want this movie to do well." But Pixar was like, "No, we're not going to do that." So they moved the release date of Ants like several months away from A Bug's Life, hoping that they could tackle Disney in regards to which Bug movie will succeed. Bug's Life made more money, and then Prince of Egypt was released. That was a really long story that I tried to condense as short as possible.
What they said. That's it. And then the Prince of Egypt failed financially.
I thought it did pretty well. Like in terms, no. Like, okay, well, I heard that like out of all of the hand-drawn films that DreamWorks did make, Prince of Egypt was like did the least awful at the box office. I heard it was
it didn't recoup.
I heard it was moderate.
It didn't recoup at the time. People didn't want to see a religious film. I'm just gonna check, my sources just to make sure, but people did not want to. Yeah, so the budget was like 180 mil.
Jeez.
And it made 218 worldwide. So it didn't really get through the marketing and all that. Right? So it did, I mean, I guess you could say it did some money, but
broke even at least.
No, I don't think so. With the marketing budget?
Oh, true. Marketing, music. Yeah, no.
I don't know. Maybe, but I remember it wasn't revered. It was revered later on.
And it also did win an Oscar, which got it some like publicity.
Yeah. Well, it was Steven Schwartz that I think that's Steven Schwartz's best work. Even though Wicked is a thing, this is his best work for me. Anywho, that was my number 2, and it's a good movie.
All right. Joe's number 2.
All right. So remember how I had said that there was one other Disney movie that is head to head with the greatest soundtrack that Disney has ever made? This is the other one.
Yeah, of course.
This has some of the best. While that I am constantly arguing which is the best. Something I will say is that the score for The Lion King, I can say this, is the best score that I have ever heard in a movie. I can say that. At least it's my personal favorite, and it's the one that I think is the most objectively, I can argue is like objectively the best that I've ever heard. So that's
yeah.
On top of just being, I mean, I'm kind of saying things that everyone else already knows, but I'm going to say them anyway. Like an incredibly raw and powerful story that you're so emotionally invested in. And the 2 scenes that I can't get by without getting either chills or welling up a little bit. Is really like the scene where Mufasa comes out of the clouds, and it's just this powerful scene where the music is just perfection, and that may be like my favorite movie scene ever. And this movie is so freaking perfect. Like I feel like I don't really use that word a lot, but this is one of those few movies where it does nearly everything right. And I cannot for the life of me find something wrong with it unless I like try and pick it apart or just try and find the most minuscule complaint, And yeah, I mean, every time I watch it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like one of the greatest like films that I've ever seen on like, let alone animation. But yeah, I adore this movie. It's probably Disney's best movie, and I highly doubt that they're going to make anything as great as this. And yeah, it's one of the most objectively greatest animated films ever.
Yeah, and when Joe says well up a little bit, what I mean is bucket of tears? No, puddle of tears. That's
yeah.
All right. So we'll go on to my number 2, Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. For me personally, I love The Lion King. Don't get me wrong, but I think this one is the best of the Renaissance era of Disney. Um, I'm a hopeless romantic at heart, so I really connect to the love story. Um, but I also love the story of like, don't judge on the outside. It's the inside that counts. And love.
Are we
the
watching
beautiful
Home Alone
music.
right now?
Are we watching Home Alone? Right? It's basically the same movie. Yeah. No, I love the animation in it. Let's see, what's the scene in particular? I love the tale as old as time moment or sequence, I should say. Love the music in that. Love the chandeliers and the ceiling and all of that. It's very beautiful animation, and you just really see them really come together and really love each other. And yeah, I just really like that. And I love the Gaston. He's one of my favorite villains. He's just so over the top, but he's hilarious. And there's so many memes with him that I just absolutely love. But yeah, no, to me, this is one of the best Disney movies ever.
And it's killed Adrien.
Yep, he's officially dead.
He's officially dead. The rose petal has fallen.
I was gonna say last petal.
If we bring up the live action version, will it bring him back to life? Probably not.
Yep.
Nice.
Someone jump through the screen and confess your love to Adrien.
Yeah. Oh. Has anyone?
There you
seen
go. That did it.
Let's go.
There you go.
That finally broke him. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there you go.
And yeah, no, nothing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, has anyone seen the special edition of it? There's a couple extra scenes in it.
I've seen it. Yeah. I really like
Lord
it.
of the Rings?
Yeah, there's
More
like
like
another
Star
scene-
Wars.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of have to love this movie by default because it like broke record, or like it made history by being the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Like that had never been a thing before. Like when I heard that, I was like, whoa, okay, I guess I need to watch this movie, because I actually didn't grow up on this one. And a lot of people
really?
a lot of people are shocked when they hear that, but this is one of the few popular Disney movies where my family didn't have it on DVD, and therefore I didn't watch it. So I rewatched it. No. I watched it for the first time, I think when I was in middle school, and I loved it then, and I still really love it now. And and still Beauty and the Beast is like one of only 3 animated films in history to be nominated for Best Picture. The other 2 being Up and Toy Story 3. But I feel like with those 2, it's really because they like brought in the category so that 10 films could be nominated for. Whereas with Beauty and the Beast, this was still when they had 5 nominees. So it feels like it really got its space in there, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like if the category was larger, I feel like probably Lion King would have been nominated for Best Picture, and Little Mermaid probably would have been, because those were such big movies at the time. And Beauty and the Beast was like really this sort of like peak that Disney had made. And they would then make another peak with The Lion King being the highest grossing animated film of its time, and it's still the highest grossing hand-drawn animated film, The Lion King. And it's just, man, I kind of miss when like Disney films like this, where it's like, oh my gosh, they're making such peaks and it's so freaking good, and the filmmaking is on point, and like everyone feels like they're putting in 100%, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, they definitely lost that, and I wonder if it's because they don't have, what's his name? Howard Mencken? Is that his name?
Alan Menken.
No. Well, him, but the Howard guy. I can't remember his last
Howard
name.
Ashman? Howard
Yeah.
Ashman?
Hunter Scullin?
Yeah, Hunter Scullin? No, but Howard Ashman, I think is his name. He was really good at his music, and I just feel like they've lost that.
Well, yeah, he worked like I think he made his start like with Little Shop of Horrors, and then they got him involved with The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. But I think it was like right before, or I think it was like right after the premiere of Beauty and the Beast that he passed away. He like contracted HIV/AIDS, and man, and like we lost such a musical legend. Like you really wish that he, like, what other stuff he could have made, like what other music he could have composed.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's Beauty and the Beast. I really like it. I did not like the live action, if you're going to ask me that. It was pretty bad.
Got some good music.
Now,
It's horrible.
when this was nominated for Best Picture, didn't Silence of the Lambs win?
It did. It did.
Oh, full circle. We have come.
We've come full circle now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of coming full circle, here's your number one, Hunter.
Oh my goodness. Look,
Genius.
I have to stay with the pattern. Patterns cannot be broken. I also just want to mention, the longer Adrien stares off of camera, the more messages from 69mega.com show up on our stream. So I think there might be a connection here. Anyways, The Mummy.
I will say that, well, I mean, let's appreciate what they were saying. Tinder, our girls write first. So, what does that mean to you? Hunter, go ahead. Tell us what that means to you.
Here's what this means to me. Have you ever seen the movie The Mummy? All right. So I know this shouldn't be number one on my list. That's because I'm a little bit...
No, it should be. You're right. You're completely right.
Thank you. This is actually the greatest movie of the 90s. Of all time, maybe. Only second to The Mummy 3. But it's beside the point. Look, so if we're looking at this pattern that we've seen in my list of movies, there's something that has not appeared yet, and it's Brendan Fraser. I absolutely love him in this movie. I growing up watching this movie could not help but just pretend to be him all the time. And I made gun bags filled with all... Have you guys seen this movie? Has everybody seen it? Yeah, obviously. No, Joe. Okay. It's okay. There's time. So I don't know. I would dress up like him. I literally made weapons carriers to be like him. It's just sweet. It scared me a lot. The movie was really scary when I'd watch it, but I liked him and his action-ness so much that I didn't care, and I would watch it anyway. I would just close my eyes when the scary mummy guy was on the screen, or when there's bugs that crawl on your skin. That's scary.
Yeah, the cicadas.
Sorry, there's bugs that crawl on your skin. But anyways, point being, I think this movie's great, and I think people should watch it more.
You know what, Hunter? I have been putting off this movie for the longest time, but you convinced me to put it on my watch list.
Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
It's the greatest movie. Well, thank you. Hunter, you're a genius. Your list was the greatest list
of all
ever
time.
created. That's, there are things, that only geniuses can do and say, and that's Hunter. So,
well, just to quote my own immortal words, it's a good movie.
That should be on your gravestone, like Billy Wilder's thing.
Yeah,
Wait.
it's a good movie.
That's my letterbox name. I just figured it out.
Harrison, why did you hide Hunter for so long?
Well, he was gone for 2 years.
He estado en México 2 años.
For how long?
For 2 years.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's why you were hiding him.
Yeah, he just came home 3 weeks ago.
I think I started my Instagram account 2 years ago. Not even. So
if you hop onto Surfing Through Cinema with Hawaii Harry,
I know,
and really get into the archives there, you might
know
find
that's
some Hunter Scullin content.
No, but you're joking. But Surfing Through Cinema is how I discovered everything. I was the first one of the first ones on Surfing Through Cinema. Not the first one because the account was already there, but I was one of the first supporters. I was
Yep,
commenting
yep.
and shit. I was there on the first live. Surfing Through Cinema with Hawaii Harry is the greatest YouTube channel after the Mummy 3 fan page. But that's besides the point.
How did you know?
Yeah,
How
I
did
know,
you
but that's besides the point. Yeah, you kidding me? Surfing Through Cinema is brilliant. But you're featured in this?
I am featured on a few videos.
Oh shit! I have
We
to
talk
go back
about
then, 'cause-
Die Hard. We talk about Phantom Menace. We talk about
Yep.
our favorite
No, because
superhero films.
I've seen Harrison, obviously, and Harrison's wife. That's about it. For me, it's always been Surfing Through Cinema. It was
Yeah.
always
You
Harrison.
didn't know he had a son? Wait, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know I have a son.
No, right. But so you've been gone for 2 years, Hunter, and now you're back, and you
Now I'm
bring
watching The
us all
Mummy.
this alpha, this genius from your trip.
What's the first thing you're doing when you go home? I'm watching
Yeah.
them.
I'm watching The Mummy in my costume.
Yes. Have you seen the meme for this, Hunter, where he's like loading his gun to shoot the guy?
No,
No? Oh, you got
I'm so
yeah.
behind on memes.
Wait,
Oh,
Hunter,
goodness.
Hunter, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were like a little older. Because Harrison, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Young
Okay, that makes
stunners.
That makes sense. Awesome.
Thank you, 4K Lowdown.
Yes, the list of all lists.
Yo, Hunter, are you gonna come back on like are you gonna like start like collabing and shit?
Look, if I'm invited back, I would absolutely adore being here. You all are very nice, cool people.
You're never allowed back, Hunter. You've been banned.
I want Hunter to be on every film podcast ever.
Well, hopefully you're not too busy
The
in
Hunter
college,
fan
though.
club starts now.
Yes.
I'm
Along
such
with
a
my
fan.
Mummy 3 fan page.
I'm such a fanboy of Hunter.
Oh, my
Oh.
goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, holy crap.
No.
Yeah, we are 4K low down.
Yeah,
Get off my lawn.
20, 24, 27.
Hey, I actually mow lawns, but that's okay.
Yeah, but we're all born in the 90s, no?
No, I am not.
Just me and you, Adrian.
2002.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So I'm the oldest here?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
I've
wait, when
never
were you
been-
born, Adrian?
I've never been the oldest ever. When I'm 27. 28 actually in like a few days. Um
Oh, happy
Thank-
early birthday.
yeah, thank you.
You should watch The Mummy for your birthday.
Yeah, probably. 1994. No, I'll watch The Mummy 3 for my birthday. But 1994. Mais non, okay, low down. I'm saying in this room. I've never been. Usually I'm always the youngest. This is a first for me. Wow. I feel like I have responsibilities now. It's weird. So yeah, 27.
All right. So
Would
let's
you-
go to Adrian's number one.
Wow, what a tone.
Yeah, we can skip. You know, like I think we said enough. No, I will say one thing about Schindler's List. That you know, it's a great comedy, right? And that's what's so, you know, amazing about it is really the humor in every single scene. It's almost as funny as Office Space, and that's what makes it such a great movie. Now, that being said, I will say one thing though. In 1993, Steven Spielberg did The Impossible. And by The Impossible, he made Schindler's List and Jurassic Park in the same year. Now, has everybody seen Schindler's List?
I have
yet
not, but I
seen
own it.
I
Tampoco he visto
a
esta
few
película.
things. So Sex Find, you know, says that private dating chat girls is awesome. And I agree. You know, that's a great point from Sex Find. Now, 4K Lowdown also says that Schindler's List is a great family film. I agree as well. So I agree with both points in the comments. Now, here's the thing. Wait, who has not seen it?
have not seen it.
No, mais non. No.
No, we're
And Harrison,
uncultured.
you too, and Hunter,
Yep.
you too.
Yep. I hear it's a great movie to take a date to.
Mm.
It's a what
it's a
great
sign-
movie? What?
To take a date to. Now it's a Seinfeld reference.
Yeah. Oh, so that's why you guys couldn't relate to the jokes I was making about the humor in the film. Fuck. You haven't seen it. My God. Okay. Okay. Actually, my point still stands. So, so he made in 1993 Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, right? So Jurassic Park first, and then while he was in post-production for Jurassic Park, he was making Schindler's List. It was a very small window in between where he could make those films. Now, again, he was a veteran of the craft at that point, of the business. That's the only reason and way he could do it, right? There was no way he could have done that 20 years earlier. But, he was a veteran at the top of his game, and he achieved the greatest achievement he's ever accomplished, which is making two of the greatest films of all time, which Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, while we're talking about tonal shifts, the greatest tonal shift probably a filmmaker can make, right? So he was shooting Schindler's List in Auschwitz during the day, and then approving dinosaur visual effects, previs CGI during the night, right? So something that is the single greatest film I could only watch once. Yeah. So if that doesn't say, badass motherfucker, I don't know what else does. So that's one thing. The other thing is that it's insane how Jurassic Park. Oh, fuck, am I gonna go there? I guess. That Jurassic Park is done. Not only is it so different in genre and tone, but it's also different in approach. Like Jurassic Park has a very minimalist design to it. Like when you look at the UI, on the computers in the Jurassic Park office, it's all very simple. It's all very simple design. It's very minimalist. Whereas everything in Schindler's List is excessive. It's maximalist. Like everything from the dust to the fog to the smoke to the cinematography, it's all so there. It's such a filmmaking prowess, and the difference between the two is pretty wild. So that's also like an incredible achievement of like opposites, right? And it's obviously like the film where I don't think I cry at every film ever, every single one, especially Mummy 3. But I will say that Schindler's List is where I think I cried the most. Like I remember at some point while watching the film, I couldn't watch the film because I was crying so much. So that like when you cry too much and there's like too much tears, so you're like your what's it called?
Your view is like filtered or something.
Yeah, what's it called on the car with the windshield wipers? Yeah, so it was like that, and you had to, and you had to. It was unbearable. You couldn't I didn't watch the film the first time. I watched the film the second time. I watched it like maybe 8 times total, and every time I would see something new. First time it was like you just cry because of the horror of it all. The horror of humanity, the horror of all of that. So you're like, and like it like puts things into perspective and shit. So you just cry for that. Then you cry. Then the second time you start to see the movie for what it is. Then you cry because of the story, and how moving it is. And then the third or fourth time you start to see the filmmaking. You start to see that Spielberg went out there with his camera, it's not all handheld, but there's no crane in this. There's no steady cam. There's no fancy tricks. There's no fancy push-ins. It's almost all handheld, almost all raw, gritty, a language he had never used before, right? Spielberg is all about, he's a maximalist. So he's all about, the big shots and the big sweeping vistas and so on and so forth, he doesn't use any of his tricks here. He really is boots on the ground, honest to the story, handheld, and just out there, like a documentary, a lot like Rome Open City, and so you start to see that the fourth time watching, you start to see that the filmmaking behind it. You're like, my God, this fucking guy. And then the fifth time, you start to understand the complexity of John Williams' theme, and not just that it makes you cry, but also just the complexity of the music in itself. And then you start to admire the production design, and you start to admire the costumes, and you start to understand that this is a film that was done with such care, with such importance for the filmmaker, right? Like Spielberg, it was probably one of his most important films. It was his reconnection with his family, with his roots, with his Jewish traditions, all of that. He made the film for his father. So yeah, it's a good movie.
We have a hot take here.
Yeah. No, but it's a hot take that unfortunately I hear a lot. I hear a lot because he makes entertainment films. Nolan is the same way, although I wouldn't necessarily. Well, I mean, they're similar, but it's a hot take that I hear a lot. I hear a lot of FUD on Spielberg. I think it's a mistake. I think he's a pure artist that people just they just see him as this filmmaker that makes entertaining films. No. It's for people that love the craft. It's one of the best filmmakers ever. Like, as a maker of a film, right? Like, in the literal sense of the word, it's one of the greatest out there. Such precision, such an eye for everything, for color, for talent, for storytelling, and done, and also that is capable of going inside of your emotions and pulling them out like that. Like, no one has ever done that at that level, in my opinion. So again, it is a hot take that is very, very out there. It's one that I strongly disagree with.
All right. Move on to Joe's number one.
Hell yeah.
Yes. So this, okay. I got to think about how I got to start talking about this movie. Man. Honestly, this and Spirited Away go toe-to-toe as not only my favorite animated film, not only my favorite Miyazaki film, but also my favorite film in general.
Like my brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Favorite film of all time.
You gotta respect your brother, Adrien.
Yeah.
And yeah, like every time that I watch this movie for the first time in like 5 or 6 years, it feels like I'm watching it for the first time again. And I don't get that experience with any other movie. And I feel like with this one in particular of Miyazaki's films, this one really prioritizes just such power and like with the story and just this real just epic scale. Like, I feel like this one really has the unique distinction in Miyazaki's filmography, and maybe even Ghibli's filmography, with the fact that it's more action-centered and it has this more so focus on like this big grand scale. And the thing is, I find that this one is really akin to Miyazaki's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which I mentioned in the last live stream. And you really see with that sort of the little seeds he would plant with like what would eventually become the Nausicaa graphic novel, manga series, pardon me, and also what would also inspire him with Princess Mononoke. And yeah, I am constantly shocked that I grew up with this film and was not traumatized by it. Like, this was like one of those films that like I loved watching as a kid, and somehow I wasn't traumatized by it, and I don't know how. But I just couldn't get enough of it as a kid, and when I rewatched it as an adult, I was like, holy crap, this is just so freaking amazing, and it's such a work of art, and I freaking adore it with my entire being. Like, I can only hope to like make something to the scale of this. And it has continued to inspire many animators and artists to this day. And this was actually originally supposed to be Miyazaki. Oh yeah, Hunter included. And this was originally set to be Miyazaki's final film. Miyazaki claimed that after this film, he was going to go into retirement, but then he went on like a little summer trip, and then he got the inspiration to make Spirited Away. And then he called for retirement again after making The Wind Rises. And then he said that he's going back into filmmaking. And apparently his next film was being released, I think, in 2023 or 2024, in the near future. So, yeah, I feel like, yeah, with this, it's a constant battle between this and Spirited Away to decide which would be my favorite of the two.
For me,
They're
it's
like
Spirited.
neck and neck. What's that?
Yeah, but yeah, it's neck to neck, but for me, it's Spirited.
Yeah, I find that I often go to Spirited Away, but like, this one is just so freaking amazing in like,
Yeah.
but it like captures a different tone, and like, it still has kind of that spirit of Miyazaki,
Yeah.
but like it's it still feels like sort of a different film than Spirited Away, even though they do share like the same studio and the same guy writing and directing it. Yeah, I love this movie so much, and it's possibly the best movie that discusses the environment in the most subtlest and nuanced way.
Oh yeah.
Well said.
Amen.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say well said, but that's your. But that's you. Who has to say
That's
it.
mine. Don't
That's
take
your-
that from me.
Yeah, no. That's why.
All right, here we are, the last one, guys.
You know what? You know what Harrison just recently watched? The Maltese Falcon.
Yep, I did, and the review for it just came out 10 minutes ago.
That's right.
All right, here we go. Toy Story, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all hate it.
Time in a row that your number one, Harrison, is a movie that I think is overrated.
Oh, shots fired. No, no, I can understand
Laying
that. I could understand it,
just
but
killing the mood. It's what I do.
yeah. No, but without this movie, though, I argue if this was a failure, we wouldn't have any of the Pixar movies that we have today. This is probably, I don't know if it was the biggest gamble, but it was definitely a huge gamble for Disney to say, yeah, let's go all in with a CGI movie with a computer company. You know, like it was totally out of left field. And I'm so grateful it succeeded because it is a fantastic movie. I also have the VHS for it over here. Same thing, would watch it all the time as a little kid. What else could I add to that? No, I don't know. It's just super endearing. One of the moments that I really like kind of towards the end is when they're kind of falling with style, you know, flying into Andy's car. It's just a magical moment. And that really makes you think, yeah, this is a magical Disney movie. This is one of those magical moments you hear about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Toy Story.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, it's been fun, but I do have to go to dinner. I've been called and summoned a few times. And because I didn't die on this stream, I get to live another day apparently.
Well,
So-
rest in peace, Adrien.
So thank you, and I just want to say, shout out to Harrison and Joe for we've been living for the fourth time now or something like that, third or fourth time. It's always a great time, even though I'm even when I'm dying. Thank you for the listeners and the comments.
4K Lowdown has a pretty sweet comment just now.
Yeah. It's 4K Lowdown and Sex Find. I feel like have brought on the best, points to this, greatest value to this conversation.
Most enlightening points.
It was enlightening. So that was the one thing. And of course, the biggest shout out to Hunter, who has been hiding for 2 years, and who has finally, revealed himself. And I, if I die, at least I will die happy. So, that being said, salute you. Until next time for the 2000s. Harrison, don't forget to send me the recording.
Yep.
And all right, guys. The old man of the room is going somewhere to eat. So peace out. Thank you so much, Harrison, as always, for doing these. These are always awesome.
Absolutely.
And, I'll let you know on the analytics of the content.
Sure.
All
And
right.
we'll discuss offline the next time we'll meet. We've
Yeah,
all got
and let
pretty
me know.
busy schedules.
And let me know. Okay. All right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and take care until next time.
Ciao, ciao.